Wide open Torrence. Oh, baby, touchdown. How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do. Cash.
You're proud of me?
And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to Bankroll Blitz right here on Pub Sports Radio. What a week we just had. I needed to bounce back. I did 7-2. I only got one game wrong. I lost the double up on the Titans game. Titans plus 100 and the under 43. But cashed everything else. 7-2 plus 4.9 units. You went 15-10 plus 4.87 units. We combined to be just under 10 units of profit. And we've done that a few times, and it feels really, really good. I won 2 Survivor contests, cashed a SGP with everybody on Sunday night. I middled the need in the Survivor contest. I needed Tampa Bay to win. I put 1,000 on the Panthers plus 3.5 and middled that. It was just magic, Troy. It was just fucking magic, man.
Isn't it great when just everything just falls into place and you just fucking cash out? It's just a beautiful thing, Jimmy. And more props to you. Let me shout you out for a second, man. What does that say about you, man? What does it say about you when you win your own contest? What better way can you put on for your city than winning your own contest? It's a beautiful thing. And I know you've been struggling a little bit with the record, but that doesn't tell the whole story, man. With the live bets, the SGPs, this contest, and this man is balling. And you know what? We're coming around. We're both finishing in the black this year. I have good faith. I think we're seeing things clearly. Let's just keep doing it.
Well, you've been a monster all year. Your record plus 22.73 units ROI plus 8.95% with an average line of plus 141. So I'm just trying to stick as close as I just got to get to the black. I got to get to the black. That'll be step number 1. I'm down 2.37 units, ROI minus 1.56%, average line minus 110. But you have inspired many people, and watching your database grow has been very, very exciting for all of us. Thank you guys for all being here. We have a huge card, only one buy, so we got 15 games we need to break down. Jedi for life in the house. Mac Beaver is ready to get to work. Sammy Calmer, there's the truth teller. Doug,
Jimmy,
yeah.
Before we hammer it, can I just say I'm not in my usual circumstances right now. I'm out of town, right? I haven't been in my home office for a few days. That's where everything is. I do have a little bit older version of the database. It's about a week outdated, so work with me a little bit here. I'm not as prepared as I usually am, but I do got some good stuff to share with everybody.
Yeah, you're money in the bank, man. We'll crush it. We'll crush it here. Slim Fabo in the house. Ron Crawford, Doug says, Troy, what a destruction of the Eagles, my guy, says Doug. Ronnie Crawford, Baltimore -7 is the spreadsheet play of the day. We got Mel in the house, Spenny Penny Bombs, Dan Kelly, Terry Walker, North Ender, Sky Dragon, the Nuke Worker, Real Deal Prime. What a great group. Thank you guys all for being here. And we have a ton of work to do. So let me just why don't you just touch on the week that was for you, Troy? What worked, what didn't, while I get the Action Network and make sure I've got everything set.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Usually I would have everything right in front of me all at the same damn time. But we started off the week with the Cowboys and the over on Jimmy. Your input kind of started making me look at it. We found a database, a mob shit type of spot. That cash, Cowboys, Lions, money line parlay. Lions, Texans, money line parlay. I doubled up on the under in the Pats versus Chargers. They both cashed. The line, I got 40.5, 41.5. Bet it when it ticked up. It closed at 38. That was a beautiful thing. Got the Cardinals +6. I should have been more invested there. Titans money line, that's a loser. Doubled up on the Texans, cash. Panthers +5.5, +4. And the money line, cashed the spread, lost on the money line. Browns +3.5, Browns +4, Browns money line. The pain, I'm in. We'll see if they can get me back right this week. Then I had some player props. Eli Moore, 4+ receptions. That cashed. Jerome Ford, over 15.5 receiving yards. That cashed. I had an SGP. That was a loser for a full unit. Packers all these are for a full unit from the show perspective. Excuse me for that confusion. Had the Packers and Chiefs under 42.5. Bet it again at 43.5. They both lost by a field goal in the fourth quarter, even though I feel like I shouldn't have cashed that at all. But I did have the Packers +5. That got me back on the right track. And I finished it off with the Bengals +10 yesterday. And I took Jake Browning's over on his passing yards. They both hit.
That was the thing of beauty. Absolutely beautiful. Great work. I had Packers +6.5 cashed. The Seattle-Dallas first half over 23, full game over 46, cash. Chargers, Patriots under 40.5 cash. Lions first half -2.5, full game -4 cash. Then lost the Titans and the Colts, Tennessee under, and then cashed the Detroit, New Orleans over 47.5. That was the week that was. Let's get right to work. I've only made 2 bets here and just monster line moves in my favor today. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked to see how big the line moves were. I got in about 9:45 a.m. totals, and the line just moved heavily in my direction. How many bets do you have locked in for this week?
Holy crap, Jimmy. Let me collect that. We're gonna have to talk about it during the show because I still haven't logged everything like I usually would have by now. But I'll have that by the end of the show.
All right, well, let's get right to work. We start at 8:15 p.m. Eastern with the New England Patriots 2-10, 1-4 on the road at the Pittsburgh Steelers 7-5, 4-3 at home. Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 40 Fahrenheit, clear, 8 miles per hour is the wind. Let's get into the line history here, and the big story with the line history is just this very minuscule total here. But from a side perspective, again, we'll be using Pinnacle for all of our market moves. And thank you guys so much for joining us here on Bankroll Blitz. We have Pittsburgh opening up at -6.5. They're now -6. It was an abomination what the Patriots just did this past week, but I don't know how a Mitch Trubisky-led football team could be a 6-point favorite against any team in the National Football League. And somehow, and I don't know if it's just a bias with Belichick, but the Patriots look good every week to me. And I can stay off of them, and I'm okay staying off them here. But wow, again, they appeal to me even though they can't score. This total, we're down to 30. We are down to a 30. This opened up at 32.5 and has dropped down to 30. There was a time when this 30.5 was juiced pretty heavy. It's not now. I mean, it's -111 to the over, and you can get a regular VIG at all the books at this 30. Tacky JP, great to see you. Sky Dragon says long-term track record back the team that got shut out. That is a big trend over the last 10 years or so. I've seen it go back about that far. A huge trend to back the team that has just been shut out. Let's go over to the cash flow here. 69% of the tickets and 74% of the cash is on the Patriots. Half-point move in their direction. Then you have 94% of tickets and 98% of cash on the under. Doug says they will not win another game. He is convinced. And Terry Walker says, for real, I'm fading the Patriots from now on. North Ender pushed with the Pats last week. The Patriots coming off their 5th straight loss, 6-0 at home in the driving rain to the Chargers. I told it was a very interesting day. I needed the Steelers to lose to be able to be live to the Buccaneers winning and to win the survivor pool or 2 survivor pools. And I listened to this game on the radio. I had to pick something up off of Marketplace. I had to pick something up, and I was listening to this game on the radio, and it was just wild. And it sounded like, because I wasn't watching, but it sounded like there was some drops where Zappe might not have been quite as bad as he looked. But there was drops for the Chargers as well. But let's talk about the Patriots now. They have the worst record in the AFC. They've been shut out at home twice this year already. It's the first time since 1993 that the Patriots haven't scored in the first half in back-to-back games. They're the first team since 1938 to lose 3 straight games, allowing 10 or fewer points in each one. That was in 1938. Your Chicago Cardinals, Troy. They have allowed the least amount of points in the NFL since Week 9. Can you believe that? They've allowed the least amount of points in the NFL since Week 9, and they're 0-4 over that stretch. Zappe was 13-25 for 141 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Devontae Parker led receivers with 4 catches for 64 yards. Ramondre Stevenson ran 9 times for 39 yards before suffering a high ankle sprain that's going to keep him out for a few weeks. He leads the Patriots with 619 rushing yards, averages 3.96 yards a carry, and he's also the team's leading receiver. So with him out now, Elliott will be the workhorse, and I'm interested to see how he handles this. And I think he'll be good in this spot. He certainly wants the opportunity to show people that he can still play. He played a season-high 44 snaps. He ran 17 times for 52 yards, caught 4 passes for 40 yards. On the season, he's only played 38% of the snaps. He's 429 rushing yards on 112 carries, 3.83 yards per carry. And New England ranks last, as you can imagine, in the NFL in points per game. They outgained the Chargers 257 to 241, 4-14 on third down. Patriots are 28th in third down offense, converting 33.1% of the time. Neither team ran a play in the red zone, the opponent's red zone. Patriots are 16th in red zone offense. Remember, that's getting worse and worse. So they're 16th in red zone offense, scoring touchdowns 54.2% of the time. But over the last 3 games, as you can imagine, they have the worst red zone offense in the league. 16.7% of red zone drives they've cashed as touchdowns. Defensively, they've been strong all season in the red zone. Even despite Judon being hurt, Christian Gonzalez being hurt, they've been really good defensively in the red zone. They allowed touchdowns on 45.7% of opponent drives. The defense didn't get much pressure on Herbert, but they were strong throughout. They only had 1 quarterback hit, no sacks. Chargers were held to just 29 rushing yards. The Chargers were 5 of 15 on third down. The Patriots are 16th in the league, allowing opponents to convert just 38.3% of third down opportunities. The Steelers coming off a 24-10 loss at home to the Cardinals. They saw them lose starting quarterback Kenny Pickett to a high ankle sprain. It's the Cards' first win in Pittsburgh since 1969. So he's undergone a surgical procedure in an effort to accelerate the healing process, but he's going to miss multiple weeks. Tomlin said there's no concern that the surgery will end Pickett's season. Trubisky will be the Steelers' starting quarterback on Thursday. Trubisky was 11 of 17 for 117 yards and a touchdown. He also lost a fumble on a low snap. Pickens caught 4 for 86. Najee Harris ran 60 times for 63, and Jalen Warren added 9 for 59. 4 of 11 on third down and 1 of 3 in the red zone. If you thought the offense was bad with Pickett under center, it's going to be worse with Trubisky. The star-studded pass rush, I've been saying this for weeks now, is underwhelming. 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. The Cardinals were 10 of 17 on third down. This is a real pedestrian defense. Yes, it has superstar names, but it's a pedestrian defense. They're 19th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 40% of third downs. The Cardinals were also a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. Now, the Steelers are still 6th in the league in red zone defense. But over the last 3 games, they're allowing touchdowns on 62.5% of red zone drives. Elandon Roberts is hurt, a groin injury. Isaac Seumalo has a shoulder injury, and James Pierre with another shoulder injury are questionable to play. Take it away for us here, because the more I talk about it, the more I want the Patriots. And maybe we should have a rule. If you want to bet the Patriots, just don't do anything in that game. Don't watch it. Don't bet it. Focus on a different sport. Maybe that should be the rule. What do you think here, Troy? Take it away. Patriots, Steelers, the Thursday nighter.
It's, we've been on the same page lately, man, because I have the same sentiment. And Sky Dragon comes in and says the total's too high. It smells more like a 27. I think that's hilarious. It's too high at whatever it is right now, at 30, 29.5 at some books. But with this low of a total, I'm with you. It's hard not to see value in the dogs. In this case, it just so happens to be the Patriots. And just like you, I go through this battle every week, a very similar battle with this Patriots team. You want to back Belichick in this defense, but that comes with baggage, and baggage that you don't want to, that shall not be named. And Jones, Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. It's funny, though, watching these 2 clowns play quarterback, guys like P.J. Walker, Tim Boyle, the Jones brothers, and Zappi. I mean, that's something to be said about quarterback benchmarking, because it allows you to see places, other quarterbacks that they fare out well in the pocket, or at least they look like they have composure in the pocket, whereas these guys can look completely lost. I talked about this yesterday on the live stream. It makes me see value in guys like Browning, Tyrod Taylor, maybe Gardner Minshew, compared, guys that can get the job done, or at least can be effective in the NFL, whereas these quarterbacks are not. So if there's anything I'm learning right now from watching the Patriots, like I have the past few weeks, it's just benchmarking these quarterbacks and seeing where everyone plays out. And people have been talking about it in the industry all week. Look at all the quarterback matchups. It's just crazy to see who's starting in the NFL nowadays and how wide the gap is, how much deviation there is in that positional group. Last week, we hammered this under. I covered it when I talked about my action pre-flop. Doubled down, closed at 38, and it's just hard to look at a 30 and find it appetizing, because all that value has been diminished. And now I know the totals are low, go under at a high rate, and they have been this year. It's just hard for me to get behind it. And the Steelers team, people overreacted after their, with this offense, after they played the Bengals, 400 yards, didn't really score any points. I didn't fall for that crap. I was on the Cardinals. I wanted to take the Cardinals on the money line, but the line movement didn't work out in my favor there. I mean, come on. Najee Harris is still getting more carries than Jaylen Warren. It just makes no sense. How could that guy still be getting the carries just because he's higher picked in the draft? One running back is way more efficient, and I don't know why he's not getting carries. I will not take the Steelers as road chalk. I'm just like you. I want to bet the Patriots. I just don't know if I can.
Yeah, I want to bet the Patriots badly, but it's just not healthy. I don't think. I would hate to have to watch this football game and have money on the Patriots, but there's no chance under any circumstances will I back Mitch Trubisky as a 6-point favorite under any circumstances. And the Patriots, they've got to they've got to get a break or two here. I mean, this has just been a horrific run, but I can't do it, man. I can't do it. But it's Patriots or no bet. And right now you have, the trend of the teams that are being shut out is being blasted everywhere on social media. But right now we have this Patriots squad is a public road dog, and those teams don't usually cover. They don't usually cover. Skydragon says he's going to bet it. I might get there. I might get there, but at this point, I'm not going to bet this tonight.
All right, Jimmy, I'm moving on it. I know I'm going to bet this game. I bet all the primetime games. I like the action. I've been successful doing it, so I'm going to continue with it. I'm betting the Patriots at +6, and I'll just hope that it gets into the 5.5, 5 range, so I'll feel very comfortable with my side, despite how terrible they've looked. But I'm moving on it.
I respect that. I respect that. And maybe I sit with it for so long that I move on it too. But I respect that you've done it or you are about to do it. So Patriots for Troy. And I'm very interested. I would love to see the public start hammering the Steelers and the line not changing. That would be even if the line, and I know you wanted to go through that 5.5. But I would like that here. Sammy Comer on Patriots +6 and the money line. And Spenny Pennybomb says they approved this time off for San Antonio. I've not booked the tickets yet. I love it. Spenny Pennybomb's coming through. That's going to be great, man. That's going to be great. So Troy is on the Patriots, and I am close to getting there. I'm very and hearing Sammy on it, hearing DG on it, and Troy on it. I'm close to getting there. I do not want to mess with this total either. I can understand DG getting underneath it, saying it's too high. That's very possible here. But Trubisky is a pick 6 waiting to happen. In fact, I think I bet a Patriots defensive touchdown. I think that's a bet that I might want to make. I wonder what, Patriots and then Trubisky with a pick and a Patriots defensive touchdown. I think those will be, I don't know if I'll tweet them out or just privately bet them, but
I struggled to calculate your EV on a play like that. Like, what should the odds be in those circumstances? Under these circumstances, with this low of a total, these quarterbacks, this type of game, geez, what are you looking for, Jimmy? Roughly, kind of odds.
I would like. God, what would I want? Well, I'd want 20-1. 22-1.
I was going to say you're probably going to get 8-1.
Oh, I know. You're probably going to. Yeah, it's probably not even going to be double digits. If it's not double digits, I don't think I can. I don't think I can possibly bet it. But it would be just sort of a wreck look here. And DG says if you think Trubisky throws a pick 6, can't imagine a scenario where they don't cover the 6. Look, I get it. I want it. Truth Teller says. If this is a competitive game, it's going over. I don't know about that personally. But Sammy Comer looking at Pat's defense or special teams touchdown as well. And Christopher Comatini says they're going to let Trubisky throw it. I doubt it. They do. He throws it. He's going to throw it. They're not going to. They have, Canada's gone. New offense coordinators. We got to move on from this game. But you guys know I do love bum fights, and the Patriots are, they're right, singing songs and smoking Marleys in the outside of a garbage fire right now. Let's move on to Sunday action. Troy has moved on the Patriots, and think I may join them. 1 p.m. Eastern, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 5-7, 2-4 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons, 6-6, 4-2 at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Take a look at the line history, and we do have to speed this up here. I know we spent a lot of time on game one, but we do got to kind of make moves here because we have 15 games now, 14 games to cap. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Buccaneers Falcons. We have the Falcons -2.5 at -110. That's where they opened. That's where they are. There's been no movement on the side. -2.5 at -110. And then from a total scenario, we have the 39 here at Pinnacle. This opened up at 39. It got up to 40 for a little while, and it's dropped back to 39. From a total side of things here, or from a cash flow, side of things, 47% of the tickets and 86% of the cash is on the Atlanta Falcons, and this line's not moving. And then 46% of the tickets and 83% cash is on the over, and it moved up for a second, and then it's come back here. Spenny Penny Bomb says the Bucs. Terry Walker says the Falcons. Buccaneers come in off a 21-18 home victory over the Panthers. Baker 14-29 for 202 yards, touchdown, and a pick. Mike Evans was spectacular. Caught 7 passes for 162 yards and a touchdown. Joined Jerry Rice as the only players in NFL history to string together 10 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards plus receiving. Seth Rice did it for 11 straight years, so he's got one to catch Jerry Rice. I mean, what a Hall of Famer Evans is. The rest of the team, so Evans catches 7 for 162 yards touchdown. The rest of the team catches 7 for 40. The whole team. Rashad White ran 20 times for 84 yards and touchdown, caught 3 passes for 22 yards. They went 6 of 15 on third down. They're 15th in the league on third downs, converting 40.4% of them. They were 2 of 3 in the red zone. They've struggled in the red zone all season long. They're 27th in the league, scoring touchdowns on 47.1% of opportunities. Antoine Winfield was incredible. 8 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, an interception. Bucs finished with 4 sacks, held the Panthers to just 3 of 15 on third down. That's been a problem area for the Bucs this year, but it is improving. On the year, they ranked 27th, allowing opponents to convert 42.2% of third down opportunities. Over the last 3 games, they're the best third down defense in the league. And now you can say, look at the opposition they played, and that's fair. But look who they're doing it without. No Levante David, no Devin White, no Jamel Dean. That's really impressive. I thought they were really impressive on Sunday. I really did. Panthers were 2 of 3 in the red zone. This had been the best red zone defense in the league for most of the year, but it's dropped to 4th. They allow opponents to score touchdowns on 40% of red zone drives. Atlanta comes in off a 13-8 victory at the Jets. Falcons have back-to-back wins for the first time since opening the season with 2 wins. They were outgained 259 to 194 in the victory. Desmond Ridder, 12 of 27 for 121 yards and a touchdown. Look, I know that this offense is better at home. I get it. But they looked so bad against the Jets. And the Jets have a tough D. Kyle Pitts caught 4 for 51. Bijan Robinson had 18 carries for 53 yards, caught 3 passes for 26 yards. They're 4-14 on third down. They're 14th in the league in third down conversions, 40.7% of the time. They did not score in their lone red zone trip. They're 22nd in red zone offense, converting first downs 51.4% of the time. The defense was strong against a very weak Jets offense. 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Jesse Bates got a pick. Held the Jets to 2 of 15 on third down. So this is where Atlanta is a little different than I'd imagine them, and especially without, Jarrett gone for the year. They are now 2nd in the league on third down defense. They allow opponents to convert just 33.1% of third down opportunities. They are now the number 1 red zone defense in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns just 37.1% chances. Now, AJ Terrell, he's suffered a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. And Jeff Okudah, they say that he should be okay. His status is uncertain at this point, but they said he should be okay. Offensive tackle Caleb McGarry left in the second quarter with a knee injury, an MCL sprain. He's going to miss some time. It's not expected to be long-term. He's not expected to be done for the year. Linebacker Nate Landman helped off the field in the fourth quarter. They were without Matt Collins and a backup cornerback Mike Hughes. And defensive tackle David Onyemata and center Drew Dahlman also got hurt during the game. So no Grady Jarrett, no Troy Anderson. This defense is playing so well. The more I talk about this and what these two defenses are doing, I completely understand why the total was put at 39. Let me say that. I guess that is a fair total. I don't know why it would be bet up to 40. I don't know why. I don't know why there would be, big bets here, or big bets on the over. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. Take it away for us here, Troy. Buccaneers, Falcons.
To your point, if it's getting bet up in this range, and I haven't looked at totals yet, I just haven't had the time to dig in. But if this total's moving up and it's going to land 40.5, 41, 41.5, I'll come in on the under because I agree with you. I see this game as being an under, and sometimes early in the week, they're baiting the line certain ways. The sharps are. They're baiting the line by, buying partials on the other side, trying to get that line to a point where they got it. Later in the week, they'll come in on the other side, hammer it to the under. It happened in the Chargers game last week, closed at 38. I could see this total definitely closing around the 38 range. I faded this Bucs team last week. My favorite play on the board was the Panthers, the freaking Panthers. It was mostly because of the line movement. But once you start getting, you start digging through the Bucs, you start finding a lot of holes that, I'm just so surprised. And I've talked about how surprising it is. This Bucs team is not a defensive team anymore. It's an offensive team. They get gashed on the ground. And this is versus a Panthers team. Chuba Hubbard went for over 100. They can't run block. Their offensive line is not equipped to run block. Yet they were making holes and getting gashed on the ground. And that's also a Panthers team that has no vertical threats. So they don't have to worry about a vertical threat. They could put 8 in the box, and they were still able to move the ball. And that's exactly what the Bucs did. They put 8 in the box. They dare them to run the ball. They continue to run the ball. That's the only way the Panthers drew up any points. And I still think that the Panthers were live in that game to win outright, despite being down, double digits late. And like you said, this team is definitely regressing in the red zone. They went, Panthers go 2 for 3 versus the best home red zone team in the NFL. And Baker Mayfield's just not healthy. Just look at his demeanor. You don't see him every week up until last week. We've seen him lower his shoulder to pick up at least one first down in the game, get up and start screaming and yelling and rallying the sideline. We see none of that. This guy is definitely hurt. I think it's time to fade this team, this Bucs team. I think, the bottom's starting to fall out. This is how I feel about it, how I'm seeing it. I think the Falcons would be able to run the ball. I think they have much better weapons offensively. You got Desmond Ridder at home, and his home road splits are very real. 2 out of his last 3 home games, he threw for over 300 yards. This is Desmond Ridder and 300 yards. Those two don't go together. But at home, he's been able to put up some numbers. I just think they'll be able to get in a position at a higher rate, execute on their drives. And here's the thing, Tampa Bay is a one-trick pony. They want to throw the ball downfield to Mike Evans. Without that, their numbers would look atrocious. And I haven't dug those out, but I bet you if you took away the Mike Evans yards, and you don't want to take them away, so maybe you just adjust them slightly or half of some of these massive, long catches that he continues to make. I mean, he should get the Keenan Allen treatment. Shade the coverage, double him, make sure he's not beating you deep. This team can't really do much else because they definitely can't run the ball. I love this number. I've been betting 2.5. 2.5 is kind of where I've been sharpest this year, where I've been most efficient in betting spreads. And I'm on the Atlanta Falcons at 2.5. I think this is going to close 3.
Troy is on the Falcons. I do not see. I guess, do you think that because I've been impressed with the Buccaneers defense missing these star players, but do you think that they're just about to get gashed here, that the Falcons offense is capable of putting up 25 or 30 points? Because I don't know if they are.
No, but I don't think they need to put up 25, 30. I think if they put up 17 to 20, they'll cover this number. I don't see the Bucs being able to put up matching numbers. I think you're going to have way more success offensively from the Falcons because of how they've been getting gashed and they grade out terribly. And if you watch it, you see massive holes. Simple concepts like a trap or a wham, they're just getting blown away. And inside zones, everything inside, you can go right up the middle on them. It's not looking good for their defense, in my opinion. Now, their secondary, their coverage unit has actually played very well. And that's actually surprising to me. Without Levante David, without Devin White, who are coverage, very fast, athletic linebackers, they're still able. But that's the Panthers, though. Way more weapons with this Falcons team.
Those weapons have not been looking good, though. I mean, do you see Drake London? Well, he had 1 catch for 8 yards. I believe he was targeted 5 times.
I can't believe that. That man should be touching the ball, should be getting targeted 8 times a game.
Oh, yeah. And Kyle Pitts leads your receiving core with 4 catches for 51 yards.
But that's the Jets defense as well, too. And I'm way higher on the Jets defense than most.
No, and I believe in that Jets defense as well. I find the under very, very interesting here in this one. I'm not sure if I move on it tonight, but it's certainly on my radar here. And Troy's on the Falcons -2.5.
This is all bum fights, Doug. JW says it perfect, man. This week is just a battle of the bums, game after game.
Let's move on. 1 p.m. Eastern is next up for us. Detroit Lions 9-3, 5-1 on the road. Chicago Bears 4-8, 2-3 at home. Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. 36 Fahrenheit, snow showers, 19-mile-per-hour winds. We have inclement weather this week across a bunch of games, and I moved on 2 spots where there's inclement weather, and we'll get to them. I certainly understand the move in this game with the wind. But let's talk about it here. First off, from a side perspective, there's been a huge move to the Chicago Bears. And I get it. I completely get it. It opened up at 4.5 at a pick'em. And lasted that there for 4 minutes. That's it. 4 minutes till it moved to 4. And then it moved to 3. It's not a real 3. Detroit's -119. It's like a 3.5. But I find the Bears very appealing, and I'm really interested in the opportunity of fading the Lions in the playoffs. But I think a lot of people are feeling similar about this Lions squad. This total is at 39.5. It opened up at 45.5. I could have got in on it this morning at 41.5. But I did feel like I'd missed the boat, that I'd missed the opportunity. And we'll discuss this a little more. So let's get into the cash flow for this spot, Lions, Bears. We have 74% of the tickets and 69% of the cash on the Bears. And breaking down the stats and what they've been doing lately defensively, I get it. Then we have 58% of the tickets and 93% cash on the under. Lions come in off a 33-28 victory at the Saints. They built a 21-0 lead. They were up 24-7 at the half, and they had to hold on for the win. Jared Goff, 16-25 for 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Sammy Laporta, 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Rest of the team had 7 catches for 73 yards. Only 6 rookie tight ends have ever had 140 yards receiving and a touchdown in a game, and no one's done it since 1995, and that was Pete Mitchell for the Jags. Jahmyr Gibbs ran 8 times for 60 yards. Montgomery ran 18 times for 56 yards and a touchdown. They went 6 of 13 on third down, and they are 10th in the league converting third downs 43% of the time. Their offense is good. They're not great, but it's good. They were 3 of 5 in the red zone. They're 12th in the red zone offensively, scoring touchdowns on 55.8% of red zone drives. But the Lions defense looks worse and worse as the season goes on. They've allowed 30.25 points per game over their last 4. They let the Saints go 6 of 12 on third down. They're 12th in third down defense, allowing opponents to convert 37.4% of opportunities. The Saints were a perfect 4 for 4 in the red zone. Detroit is tied with the Panthers for the second worst red zone defense in the league, giving up touchdowns on 71.8% of opponent red zone drives. I mean, they're just an over machine. And I came into that game capping it last week because all I was wanting to do is get in on the overs. I still end up moving late on the over, full game over, but I wanted first half over, full game over. Detroit should be giving us overs nonstop. Now, is this wind too big of an issue? Or how low does this total go because of the wind and the snow? Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Frank Ragnow, Monday, they had MRI on his injured knee. He's probably going to miss this week's game against the Bears. But they're kind of deep here. They have Graham Glasgow, who can slide over to center. And then they'll have to use Colby Sorsdahl in that guard to replace, Ragnow, basically, if Glasgow moves over. The Lions continued to be able to run the ball and protect Goff after Ragnow's injury. They ran for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 sack against the Saints. They there's also a chance that Alex Anzalone will return from his hand injury. He was out in the for the Saints game. The Bears coming off their bye week. They were last seen an ugly 12-10 win at Minnesota in week 12. They've gone from being ranked 29th in total defense to 9th. That's all since week 5. That's since a week 5 win of Washington. The defense led the way against the Vikings, held Minnesota to 242 yards, just 2 third down conversions and 9 tries. So their third down defense is everything's improving. Their secondary is healthy and playing very well. Jalen Johnson is rolling right now. 3 interceptions in the past 6 weeks. The Bears have forced 4 turnovers in back-to-back games, 7 interceptions over that span. They're still 30th in third down defense, and they're still last in red zone defense. But we see it with our eyes, and the stats are telling us that this is a much better defense than we remember. And Fields is playing well. 12 touchdowns, 6 picks, 92.3 passer rating. That's 13th in the NFL. He's also run for 400 yards. Bears are 11th in red zone offense, scoring touchdowns on 58% of red zone drives, and they're 9th on third down, converting 43.3% of them. I want the Bears, and I'm curious what you think about this total in the snow, because I know you've played in it. Snow, 19-mile-per-hour winds. Take it away, Troy.
I knew the Bears would be taking money in this game. On Sunday morning, or Monday morning, early in the morning, I was looking at this game, and I just knew the Bears were going to take money. They were sitting at 3.5, and I had to take it. Not realizing, on the back end, when I got out to Nashville, I pulled up and opened the database, and I didn't like the trend that I see, and I'll get into that. But just looking at this Bears, they were going to take money. You got December weather. This is before I even looked at the forecast. I knew it was going to be perfect conditions when you want golf outdoors in December. That's exactly where you want to fade golf. And the Bears have the ability to stop the run. They have an uptrending defense. You touched on that. I agree with that completely. I don't think it's fraudulent. They're playing good football, and they have revenge in a game that, in my opinion, they should have won. Well, I don't think it's in my opinion. I think everyone has the same opinion. They should have won that game in Detroit. And I know I've said, I'd rather take a worse line than 3, but when you can predict the market move, right? Sometimes, and here's the thing, I made a note on this before I found out with the database. I'm going to skip over that. But Justin Fields and this coaching staff, they're playing for their careers. Their careers are on the line. I think the Lions are vulnerable, and I want to attack them. However, lines that move and close at +3 after a move to the road team. So the home team closes at +3 after a move towards the road team. 2-7 ATS, and I'm missing a few weeks. There's a few more that probably fall into this category. So it's not a favorable trend. It says the line maybe goes too far when the home team's a dog. It's much different than when the road team's a dog. But this is concerning to me. I'm fading the database. I'm on the Bears +3.5.
What do you think of this total? Are we getting to a point where it's too low because the Lions defense is that bad?
And you should expect in those type of conditions, Justin Fields to be activated on the ground and scrambling and using his legs to make plays happen, because he's still playing for his life now. Like, you're playing for big money if you're Justin Fields right now. I think the total is getting a little bit too low, but I don't know if I want to jump in front of it, because those 19-mile-an-hour winds out there by Lakeshore Drive, they're no joke. And they're crisp. I mean, it's going to be very difficult conditions, but sometimes those difficult conditions turn into defensive points. I could also see that. So a lot of ways this game can get over the total if it keeps dropping.
And I wonder if it's the team total that we should be looking at here. The 3.5 for the Bears is now -118. The 3's at +106. The team total for the Bears is 20.5. That's pretty high. Why would it be that high? I didn't expect it to be.
The team total for the Bears is 20.5, and the total.
Oh, that's because, sorry, I took a closer look. God, the Pinnacle's so scared of this game. The over 20.5 is +140, and they're not giving you an alternate line.
Yeah.
And the over 24.5 for the Lions is +168, and they're not giving you an alternate line.
Let's see if I could find anything out here.
Yeah. I'll have to pull up Bet365, but that's a clear sign that they don't want you betting team total unders. It's wild here. I'll just pull this up here, because at least at 365, you'll be able to do whatever you want with the team total. So here for the team total for the Bears, God, they won't give you it. They'll give you an over 16.5 at -150 or an over 19.5 at +110. It's a mess, an absolute mess. So I guess we got to wait a little bit for that. Brent Cook says, I like the Bears, but Detroit could just breathe and cover. Goff and his tiny little hands outside. I mean, the Detroit Lions so used to playing indoors. I mean,
on FanDuel, you can get Bears over 18.5 for -116.
Yeah. I feel like the Bears are the look. So what did you get on the +3.5?
I got -110. I got even money. Pick them.
Bears +3.5 at -110. Let's just take another look at this. 74% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the Bears. Yeah, I want them. There's top set in the house. Okay. Troy is on the Bears. I'm very interested to see how low this total goes. I'm not going to move on the market or on the total market right now, but I do think I want Bears in my pocket here. Bears at home coming off a bye, and I just don't trust the Lions. Let's get the Lions outside in the cold. We move on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Indianapolis Colts, 7-5, 5-1 on the road at Cincinnati Bengals, 6-6, 3-3 at home, Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. So here is my first move on the card. I took the under 42 at -110 this morning.
Great number, man. That's awesome. Good job.
It's crazy.
Good work.
I couldn't believe it. It's now 39.5 at Pinnacle and 40 everywhere else. And, this was available at 41.5 at Pinnacle, and it was 42 across the board. I bet it at Bet365. It was 42 across the board. It was 41.5 at Pinnacle. And it was interesting to me. Now, this is not necessarily a there were 4 different spots where there was clear inclement, 44 Fahrenheit showers, 17 mile per hour winds. There were clear spots where there was the really windy and rainy. And 2 of them, the line hadn't moved, and the other 2, the line had moved drastically. So part of it, I'm going to be honest, part of it wasn't necessarily the X's and O's of the situation. It was, well, here's a spot that hasn't been attacked yet and will be. It was part of it. So, I didn't think that we'd have this big of a move because I don't understand why it hadn't already moved. So I moved on the under 42. Tweeted it out after I bet it. From a side perspective here, we have. Sorry, pull this up here. From a side perspective, we are sitting here with Indianapolis -1 at +102. Open up at -1 at +101. There's been no movement at Pinnacle. The movement at other books, no movement at Pinnacle here on this one. And then from a cash flow standpoint here with this one, we have 54% of the tickets and 71% of the cash on the Colts, 67% of tickets and 73% of cash on the under. Colts coming off that wild 31-28 overtime win at Tennessee. They swept their AFC South rival Titans for the first time since 2018. Minshew was 26 of 42 for 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He did fumble twice, losing one of them. He won his 4th straight game for the first time in his 5 NFL seasons. Pittman caught 11 passes for 105 yards and a touchdown. Pierce caught 3 for 100 yards and a touchdown. With Jonathan Taylor unavailable for the next few weeks, it's Zach Moss's chance to, just like he did early in the year, show everybody what he can do. He ran 19 times for 51 yards. They were just 3 of 14 on third down. 22nd in the league they are, converting just 36.3% of third downs. They were also just 1 of 5 in the red zone. The Colts had 1st and goal 4 times in regulation. They got 3 field goals, and 1 was a lost fumble. This has not been a weak spot for them this year. They're 14th in the league in the red zone, scoring touchdowns on 55% of the time, red zone drives. Their defense put a lot of pressure on Levis, sacked him 6 times, hit him 9 times. King Henry and the Titans racked up 177 rush yards, and that's with Henry getting knocked out due to a suspected concussion early in the 4th quarter. It's not a concussion. He's not in concussion protocol. But their rush defense is a problem. And the Bengals can't run the ball. Now, we saw them run the ball last night, so maybe they could build some confidence there. But their rush defense is 26th in the league, allowing 133.9 yards per game on the ground. The Titans went 6 of 17 on third down. Colts are 14th in the league in third down defense, allowing conversions 38.2% of the time. The Titans were 2 of 3 in the red zone. They're 16th in the league, allowing opponents to score on 54.1% red zone opportunities. They're a very mediocre, average defense. And the Colts right tackle Braden Smith hurt his knee on the opening drive. He was on the injury report coming into this game, and rookie Blake Freeland replaced him. I don't think he will be available here this week, but that hasn't come out yet. Tomorrow on Wednesday, we'll get the injury report. Bengals come in off a short week after their big 34-31 overtime win at Jacksonville on Monday night. They won a road game on Monday night for the first time since 1990. Browning was excellent. What a call by you, Troy, backing him. And what a mistake by me. I was going over the mistakes. I mean, first off, I backed Browning against the Steelers. I backed him, and that blew up my face. And then I said in the live stream, I was like, let's watch how he looks in the pocket and let's watch him. And for whatever reason, I was still fixated on getting that live under after a touchdown. And sure, it looked fine after a quarter when it was 7-0, but I just don't understand why I got fixated on a certain play, even though my whole thought process was I have to watch what happens here to Browning in the pocket. Bengals put up 491 yards of offense. Browning was 32 of 37 for 354 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Jamar Chase caught 11 passes for 149 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon ran 19 times for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns, caught 6 passes for 49 yards. So the big question here is, do you expect the Bengals to be able to run the ball on this porous Colts run defense? Chase Brown ran 9 times for 61 yards. It was a big night for the NFL's worst rushing attack. They were 8 of 14 on third down. Bengals are just 21st in the league converting third downs 36.6% of the time. They were a perfect 3 of 3 in the red zone. They've been good there all season long. They rank 8th in the league, scoring touchdowns 62.5% of the time. The Bengals defense has allowed 30-plus points in 3 of their last 4 games. The pass rush put some pressure on Trevor Lawrence, but couldn't get enough stops. They finished with 4 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. I don't understand what's happened to this defense. This was a defense that I believed in. I made a future bet on the Bengals when they were after that bad start. Obviously, I've given up on that and taken that as a loss. But the Bengals' third down defense is 28th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 43.8% of the time. And the Jags were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. The Bengals are 17th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns 54.4% of the time. I can't understand, and maybe someone in the chat, and maybe Troy can help. I can't understand what the hell is going on with this Bengals defense. But here, against this Colts team that plays indoors with showers and 17-mile-per-hour winds, I moved on the under 42. And I don't know what to do with Browning's success, because I do kind of believe in him. And I do think this is probably a sell-high spot on him. But I don't know if I want to do that, and I don't know if I want to trust the Colts outside. Take it away for us here, Troy. Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. Bengals at home to the Colts.
Yeah, so I'm on the Bengals last night. As I'm watching this game, I watch them take the lead late in the fourth. Immediately, it makes me want to take the Bengals. I start looking at the lines, looking at how much is it going to move? What am I going to get the Bengals at? Are they going to be favorites? I hit the pause button, wanted to talk it out. It's a perfect example of what you talk about all the time with recency bias. And you got to learn this from JTB, man, because it's real talk. Recency bias is a bitch. It only hurts you. It really never helps you. The Colts farced their way past the Titans. The 2 blocked punts resulted in a touchdown and a field goal. That's 10 points. They had 7 points in OT, like you said. And I'm kind of building the case around the under, because I don't want to take a shitty number, but it's still fitting. It's still sitting at 40 in the database. When a home dog is between +1 and +3, the line moves towards the under. The line moves towards the under and closes below 42. 12-2 to the under, and it's a perfect 6-0 if it moved more than 1.5 points, and I think that's where it's going to close. Jake Browning shouldn't have a lot of shouldn't be able to complete a lot of those touch passes. He had a couple great, just fantastic passes that just won't be available, won't be possible with the wind and the weather conditions in this game. I could see it being a grudge match, just battling out, low scoring. I like the under, Jimmy. And if it didn't move, and I felt like I was getting such an ass number, I would move on it.
Yeah, I understand. It's really cost me money overall in my life when a friend or colleague has a better number than me, so I don't move on it. It's cost me money.
Right. Like you would have cashed if you had just ran with
if I had just stopped being. But I feel it. I get jealous of my friends when they get a better line than me and I don't want to move on it. So I know that feeling so intimately. So I get it. But here,
what's the splits? I can't pull them up very quickly. What's the cash flow on this total?
the cash flow on this total, 67% of the tickets on the under, 73% of cash on the under.
Let's go. I can get a 40 right now. I'm going to grab a 40. I'm going to roll with you, Jimmy.
Well, you get weak Bengals. Now, how much is the running game going to change with Chase Brown starting to roll on it? You know, nice to see you, Marcus McCarthy. Thank you for joining us, man. Is this running game going to be better? Because if this is the worst running attack in the league and they're going up against a bad rush defense, they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit on the ground, and they're going to need to because of the wins, but they're not going to be able to excel on the ground, and it should again lead to the under. So
both these defenses are going to be able to play with 8 in the box, no doubt about it. This wind is going to be a factor. There's too much wind. It's going to be very bad weather conditions. We see these numbers dropping. I still think there's value in under 40 in this game.
Yeah.
How about Steichen though, man? I just love this. I love this coach. What's his name? The guy that came over from the Philadelphia. I can't think of it.
Shane Steichen.
Yeah, Steichen. Man, this guy's really good. He's going to be fun to watch. He's going to have a really good team over there in Indianapolis in the next few years, I believe.
Oh, without a doubt. He's building them up in his image. He was a great choice for them to go with. All right, I got the under 42. Troy's moving now on the under 40. Let's move on to the – and let's just touch on the side here really quickly. Sorry, Jose. You talked about the bias from what we saw yesterday. If you had a free bet still, though, you like the Bengals from a side perspective.
Yeah, I think I would be on the Bengals. I think that like I said, they forced their way past the Titans. And even though I love this coach, I love what he's doing, I think the Bengals are primed for a little bit of a dead cat bounce. And just because they won 1 doesn't mean they can't win 2. I think they can cover this number. I really do. I'd be on the Bengals or pass.
They certainly feel good about themselves. I do have some interest in the Bengals, but I'm the same way as you with fear of the biases from what we watched last night. Paul Clark says FanDuel has the Bears +3 at this point. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board here. 1 p.m. Eastern, Jacksonville Jaguars 8-4, 5-0 on the road. Cleveland Browns 7-5, 5-1 at home. Cleveland Browns Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio. And we have wind here. 21 mile per hour wind and rain, 50 Fahrenheit rain. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Now, not all the books have this game available to bet. For instance, Pinnacle gives you great lines. They're a very cautious book. It's not available here to bet at Pinnacle, but it's available at other books. It's available here at Bet365. They've got the Browns as 3-point favorites and the total at 30.5. Clearly, Trevor Lawrence is not going to play. Where the question is, how long will he be out? Now, it's great news for them. It's a high ankle sprain. It's not season ending. And, Pickett going through the same deal here. So will they decide to do the same surgery that Pickett's getting? We'll all get all that information, today. So from a line history standpoint, why don't we move over to Bet Online? For those of you who don't have an account on Bet Online, if you go to our website, pubsportsradio.com, we have a link that will give you 100% bonus up to $1,000. 100% bonus up to $1,000. Let's see what movement they've done here. They opened this up early. So they opened this up, before the game had taken place, and this had the Jaguars -3, and the Jaguars got up to -3.5, and then, of course, last night at 8:46 p.m., that changed. Excuse me, sorry, that changed. Sorry, that they didn't even change it. They must have taken it off the board.
They took it off the board. Yeah. I was looking for it.
Okay, yeah, and brought it back up at +1.5 at 7:30 this morning, and that +1.5 already up to +3 right now, all the way up to +3. Take a look at the total here on this one. From a total side of things, we have we'll go back to Bet Online again here and see what they've done with total. They're at a 31. This was a 39. It's crazy, dude. That's crazy. So it's an 8-point drop here. Spending Penny Bomb says Browns D back at home should step up. I won't be trusting CJ Beathard, but I don't want Flacco either pass in this game. Now we don't even know. We don't even know if Flacco is going to be starting. I mean, he's been put on the practice squad. It's just a. We'll go over all that in a second. It doesn't mean he's not starting because he's back on the practice squad. But let's go over to the cash flow. It won't tell us that much, obviously, because of some of the books not, having this out. All we know is they're saying 99% of the cash is on the under, and 89% of the cash is on the Browns. 55% of tickets, 89% of the cash. And Brent Cook saying, can the Jags move the ball? Jags coming off that 31-28 home setback in overtime last night to the Bengals. Saw them lose Trevor Lawrence to the high ankle sprain in the fourth quarter. So he left in a walking boot and on crutches. He was 22 of 29 for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. CJ Beathard completed 9 of 10 passes for 63 yards in relief of Lawrence. Beathard put the Jags in position for that 40-yard field goal, 26 seconds remaining in regulation. The Bengals did outgain the Jags 491 to 376. I guess, when we go over these stats all the time, and my mistake with, even though I knew that Browning was the answer for everything, every live bet was in the hands of Browning, I still got too caught up, and I'm being too caught up in this Jacksonville defense, thinking that their defense is better than their offense because we go over these numbers all the time. It certainly wasn't last night. But from an offensive standpoint for the Jags, Ingram led receivers with 9 catches for 82 yards and touchdowns. Zay Jones had 5 for 78. Etienne had 11 carries for 45 and a touchdown, caught 4 for 34. The Jaguars were 6 of 15 on third down. They have the really pedestrian offensive numbers this year. They're 20th in the league converting third downs 37.1% of the time. Now, they were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. That's not normal. They're 19th in the league in red zone offense. 52.9% of their red zone drives they cash. The Jaguars defense has been so good. They were horrible. Gashed for 491 yards. The Bengals were 8 of 14 on third down. This is a team that's, even with that, they're still 10th in the league in third down defense line conversions, 36.9% of the time. They allowed the Bengals to go perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. They're 18th in the league in red zone defense. The pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, and Josh Allen had that strange interception. But Jacksonville lost Christian Kirk on that first offensive play. He's going to be out this week. They also lost their quarterback, Trey Hendon, to a concussion. He's ruled out at halftime. He's in concussion protocol. Fadukasi is dealing with an ankle injury, a defensive tackle. And then Walker Little has a hamstring injury. He's listed as questionable. And Tyson Campbell, their cornerback, had a quad strain, so he's listed as questionable. Browns coming off their second straight loss, 36-19 setback at the Rams. I know you watched this game very closely. Flacco, 23 of 44 for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He looked pretty good. That late interception obviously hurt the Brown backers. Flacco, he did some good things, some really good things, but the interception by John Johnson hurt them badly. Elijah Moore caught 4 for 83. Kareem Hunt ran 12 times for 48. They finished 7 of 16 on third down. That's better than they've been in third down this year. So Flacco on third down was better than what their average has been this year with, DTR and Deshaun and PJ. They're 15th in the league in red zone. And they went 1 of 2 with Flacco. They hit 54.3. So there wasn't, it wasn't really a drop. He played pretty well, and I want you to touch on that. The defense did not look good. Myles Garrett played despite the shoulder injury. He didn't register a statistic. Nothing.
Unbelievable. Unreal.
The team finished with 0 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. They're 26th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns in the red zone. This is a defense, the number 1 total defense in the NFL. They're allowing opponents to score touchdowns on 63.3% of red zone drives. They held the Rams to 4 of 12 on third down. It's the best defense in the league on third down. And then the Rams were 3 of 4 in the red zone. Amari Cooper is in concussion protocol, and Denzel Ward, Marquise Goodwin missed the game. Denzel Ward with shoulder, Goodwin with the concussion. Take it away for us here, Troy. What is your plan in Jacksonville, Cleveland?
So for the first time, I'm going to come out and admit the Browns defense this past week got hammered. They got beat. I've had a lot of explanations for a lot of their defensive performances on the road up until this point, because it was ugly. And once again, as always, though, really bad in the red zone. They look beat up, injuries, Denzel Ward on and off the field, right? Because you have Myles Garrett playing through an injury. He didn't look right. There's a lot of holes in this defense. It just did not look like a Browns defense. It was the first time I really thought that they played way under their expectation. Despite the bad defense, They still played good enough to win, certainly cover that game. Down 1 point with 5 minutes left. Their ball should have been a tie game. They missed their extra point, maybe change the psychology of the game. Maybe Flacco doesn't make that terrible mistake. And it's the same story. In position in the fourth quarter to win and cover, and they get blown out. It's just embarrassing. It's hard for me to swallow because I've been backing this team. It's definitely my red mark on my because I've been live betting them too. So I'm compounding the losses. It's just really tough with this Browns team. And guess what? I was catching 3 at the house. I mean, I bet the Browns +3 on Sunday night at -105. I posted it on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you probably should, because I'm putting out my plays before this show. And like Jimmy got the 42, I got this +3 on the Browns, and I'm posting it as soon as I bet it. All my action, anything I'm betting, I'm posting to Twitter. And you know what? One thing I have done this season is get closing line value. And I got a couple spots this week that I believe I'm going to do so again. My question, like you said, I don't know if it's hard for me to say who I would want to have quarterback this Browns team, because I think that both quarterbacks are really close in terms of their abilities in the NFL. However, Flacco fits Alex Van Pelt's scheme much more than DTR does. The short, quick passing game, death by 1,000 cuts, spot routes against zone coverage, which I thought they should have taken more advantage of last week against the Rams. I think Flacco was good enough. I mean, up until that interception, he did exactly what you want him to do. Don't turn the ball over. Just don't turn the ball over. That's the plan right now. If you don't turn the ball over as the Browns quarterback, it's an upgrade from anything we've got so far this year. Fortunately, he turned it over. I think DTR is actually right there in terms of his abilities and what he can do in the NFL. But I think Flacco, if you want to win now, he's the guy you'd want to play. But this guy, CJ Beathard, and this Jags team in general, I've been saying it, I've been hammering it. It's a dead horse at this point. I do not believe in this Jags team. I think they're fraudulent. Downtrending defense, I touched on it last night. Bad offensive line, which is also limiting this offense in general, that I think goes unnoticed. This offensive line is terrible. They lost outright. I've been preaching this team's a fade. I wanted to do it again. That's why I bet the 3. And it's hard to say what I would do with this -3, but I'm definitely not back in Jacksonville in this spot with the conditions. And it just looks like a game where they just might want to throw it away. This guy, CJ, I don't know his first name, Beathard. Dude, after his first drive, he was literally having a heart attack on the sideline. This guy's not in NFL shape. He's not in condition to play a full game. Hopefully this Browns defense is a little more healthy, because if they are just a little bit more healthy than they were last week, this is about to be a shit show for CJ Beathard. So it's Browns or nothing at this point, even at this number.
But you got them at +3 or 3.5?
I got a full unit on the +3.
Oh, nice job. Nice job. Two Teller liking the Browns. Londo looking at the over. Doug saying Beathard is garbage. Spenny saying if Cooper's out, he wants Elijah Moore receiving yards. You cashed with Elijah Moore receiving yards last week. What do you think of that look?
I think it's the right look. If Flacco's playing quarterback, you could tell he has that he has that connection with Eli from his days with the Jets, but he also likes to throw it to his running backs and throw it to his tight ends. So I think you can go with a lot of props in this game. I think we're going to see a much higher number on Jerome Ford, because there's going to be a lot of wind. The conditions are going to be bad. It's going to be a short passing game. So you could expect a lot of passes to Jerome Ford, in my opinion.
Our friend, we're going to move into the next spot on the board here. There's nothing that really appeals to me with all the changes at this point in the line. So I'm going to stay off of the Jaguars-Browns spot. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, Panthers-Saints. We have a friend, a low bagger named Franklin, and he's got a 6-team future from the beginning of the year, and all to win the division. And 5 are going to. He's going to cash the 5 of them. The problem is he's got the Saints, the last one. And if it cashes, he'll make $20K. And he's not sure what to do with the Saints. And I get it. My thought process was the Saints have the Panthers and the Giants on deck. So shouldn't they be able to get through these two teams with W's, and then maybe you can get a little bit more if you want to cash out or make a decision, especially with the Falcons and Buccaneers playing against each other with a spread under 3. Let's talk about this spot, though, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. If we could help Franklin out, if you think that the Saints are still live to win the division, I'd love to know your thoughts, and I'd like to share them with our friend, because he's questioning whether he should cash out at this point. But let's roll. Panthers, Saints here. We'll start with the line history. This is The Saints are sitting here as big favorites. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. They open up at 6. They opened up 6 at the pick'em. It's now 5.5. I know that's a crucial situation for you. I don't know how the Saints could be this big of a favorite. I really can't comprehend that at all. This total here, this total is sitting at 38. It opened at 38. It's really at 37.5. There's been 13 cents of movement to the under at 38. So it's gone down towards the under. Terry Walker says, depending on if Carr's quarterback, I do not think Carr is going to be a quarterback here. I don't at all. 2 concussions in 3 weeks. He's also got, back, shoulder, neck, a whole bunch of things going on. I do not expect Carr to be at quarterback. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this spot. Saints, Panthers, and we have let me get this here. We go. We have 70% of the tickets and 68% of the cash on the Panthers. It's moved through that crucial number for Troy from 6 to 5.5. Then we have the total 72% of tickets and 86% cash on the under. We've now seen it move half point. So Panthers coming off their 5th straight loss in their first game under interim coach Chris Tabor. I did not like the firing. I didn't like the firing. Look, Matt Rule had to go. That was different. But I just didn't see the firing as a boost. Now, I know a lot of you guys made a lot of money on the Panthers. And I was very thankful to be able to middle with the Panthers as well. But I do not like the coaching change here. I think it's just it's an owner who is an asshole who's got his hands in everything, and he shouldn't. It doesn't work. Bryce Young was 15 of 31 for 178 yards and interception. I felt kind of bad for him. Jonathan Mingo caught 6 passes for 69 yards. DJ Shark caught 3 for 56. Hubbard ran 25 times for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. They were 3 of 15 on third down. They're 25th in the league on third down, converting 35.8% of opportunities. They were 2 of 3 in the red zone. They're 18th in the league in the red zone, scoring touchdowns on 53.6% of red zone drives. That number jumps to 66.7% over their last 3 games. So their offense is playing better. They were unable to develop a pass rush, 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. It hurt that they lost Brian Burns, who was ejected in the third quarter when he threw a punch in a scrum. They allowed the Bucs to go 6 of 15 on third down. They're the 6th best third down defense in the league, allowing opponents to convert just 35.5% of the time. Imagine if they were healthy. Imagine if they didn't have all these huge important pieces hurt. I mean, even Von Bell wasn't able to play, but we watched Shaq get hurt first game of the year. It's just too bad. He was captain of that defense. The Bucs were 2 for 3 in the red zone. That's their problem. They're tied for second last in the league in red zone defense, allowing opponents to score touchdowns 71.8% of the time. Saints coming off a 33-28 loss at home to the Lions that saw them once again lose Derek Carr to an upper body injury. He's in concussion protocol, 2nd concussion in 3 weeks. They say he's also dealing with neck injury, a shoulder injury, rib injury. I do not think he's going to be playing. He was 17 of 22 for 226 yards, touchdown, a pick before he got hurt. He also lost the fumble. So here comes Jameis Winston. He came in, he was 2 of 5 for 41 yards, but they are going to start him. I would love, and I guess they want to change of pace with Taysom Hill instead of just starting Taysom Hill, but I would be starting Taysom Hill. Olave caught 5 passes for 119 yards. Alvin Kamara, 14 carries for 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he caught 6 passes for 58 yards. Taysom Hill ran 13 times for 59 yards and a touchdown. Saints were 6 of 12 on third down. They're 18th on third down offense, converting 37.9% of the time. They were 4 for 4 in the red zone. That's a rarity. They're just 26th in the red zone. They score touchdowns on 47.7% of red zone drives. And it's because they don't use Taysom Hill enough. I mean, I wouldn't even use if I was in the red zone, Derek Carr would sit on the bench. It'd be Taysom Hill time. And now they go up against a Panthers team that's so bad defensively in the red zone. But this defense could do very little. A pass rush had 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits. They allowed the Lions to go 6 of 13 on third down. Their third down defense has been good all year. They're 8th in the league. They only allow opponents to convert 36.5% of the time. They're 19th in the NFL in their red zone defense. Cameron Jordan was, again, mostly invisible. And then they lose Malcolm Roach. He was treated for a right leg injury in the fourth quarter. He wore a knee brace after the game. They're saying that he's exploring his options for what surgery he's going to have. But it's not 100% that he's going to need surgery. But Malcolm Roach is not going to be playing. So you have Cameron Jordan doing nothing. when Malcolm Roach got hurt, this defense could do nothing. The pass rush is doing nothing. And Malcolm Roach, 38 tackles, 25 assists, 3 tackles for a loss, 3 passes defense. And so they're going to bring up Jack Heflin from their practice squad. But they're going to have to look for upgrades at defensive tackle. I bet you they're looking for a defensive tackle for the last 24 hours because Cameron Jordan's doing nothing. Malcolm Roach is gone. Why wouldn't we bet the Panthers here? Take it away for us here at Troy, Panthers Saints.
Feels like deja vu, man. Catching this number in a divisional game, line opened up at 6.5. It's down to 5.5, down to 5 at a lot of books, and it's heading lower. You got it listed here at 4.5. Is it 4.5 at Pinnacle already? If not, it's going to end up there.
No, it's at 5.5 and barely juiced.
Yeah, well, it's going to end up going down below this 5.5, at least the way this game is trending. And I think it's the right move. The Saints with Jameis Winston, if he's going to be the starter, we know this guy's plagued by turnovers behind a struggling offensive line is downtrending. And also downtrending, regressing defense. We've been calling that for weeks. They can't rush the passer, bottom 5 at pressure rate. They can't get off blocks in the run game, getting gashed on the ground the past few weeks. The only unit in this game, in my opinion, that's moving in the right direction is this Panthers defense. I don't like to do it, man. I don't like backing the Panthers. But what kind of asshole would I be with my favorite trend from the database and not betting it? It cashed for me last week. I just bet it just now as the show went on. I wanted to talk it out. You're feeling the same way. I think we're aligning on this one. I did move on Carolina. And this Bryce Young, he's been terrible, but they can't block for him. He can't see over the line of scrimmage, just getting put back in his face. And I think that this offensive coordinator with this new coach, this new scheme he tried to run, he abandoned ship in the first quarter. A few plays didn't go his way, and you could tell he went into a shell and just went into the very conservative game plan. And I didn't like to see that. I don't love what I'm seeing out of the Panthers, but I love what I'm seeing in the number, in the market, and I like to fade the Saints. So I'm fading the Saints. I'm not backing the Panthers. I got them plus 5.5.
I'm joining you. I'm joining you as soon as this show ends. I'm going to join you. I don't find the total appealing at all. I don't dislike it. If you give me a free bet, I bet the under, sure. But I want the Panthers. I'm going to bet as soon as the show ends. So I'm right with you. Both going to be on the Panthers, and you cash with them. Panthers were so glorious for me as well last week. I don't care about going back to the well at all. I don't care. I'm going to do it with you. Let's move on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Houston Texans, 7-5, 2-3 on the road at the New York Jets, 4-8, 2-5 at home at MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Here is another game with weather issues. 57 Fahrenheit rain, 15 mile per hour winds. Now, it's not as bad as some of the other spots, but 15 mile per hour winds. Let's get into the line of history here for this one. Start with the spread. Oh, sorry, I got Pinnacle up there. Start with the spread. We have Houston at, it's not a real, they list 6.5. It's not real, but it opened up at 6 at a pick'em, and you can still see 5.5s at other books, but opened up at 6 at a pick'em, and it moved to 6.5. The 6.5 started getting juiced towards the Texans, and then there was a big move back on the Jets. So it's not a real 6.5. It's plus 111 for Houston. So it is more of a 5.5 or a 6. So let's just see that at a different book then, because Pinnacle kind of messing with that. Or maybe let's just see what BetOnline has done here. So BetOnline opened this up at 4.5, but it was also a 6.5 or a 6. 6.5 or a 6 all day yesterday. And now they've moved it to 5, which is sort of a 5.5 because it's minus 117. So it's moved through that crucial number again. So we have another game here that's moved through the crucial number from 6 to 5.5, which has been a gold mine in Troy's database. So Texans, Jets, this total is at 32.5. It opened up at 37.5. We've dropped 5 points. 5 points. Wow. Now let's get into the cash flow for this spot. Texans, Jets. We have, let me grab it up here. We have 56% of the tickets and 80% of cash on the Texans. The line's moving towards the Jets. You have 94% of the tickets on the under and no cash flow reported at this point. Top Set saying that he likes the Jets here. The Texans come in off a rough 22-17 victory at home over the Broncos. It wasn't easy. CJ Stroud, 16-27 for 274 yards and a touchdown. Now, Nico Collins caught 9 passes for 191 yards and a touchdown. But they lose Tank Dell for the season with a broken leg. It's too bad. Dameon Pierce, 15 carries for 41 yards and a touchdown. Houston was just 4 of 16 on third down. They're 12th in the league converting third downs, 42.2% of the time. They were 2 of 3 in the red zone. They're 20th in the league scoring touchdowns, 52.4% of red zone drives. But the defense was excellent. They held the Broncos to 0 for 11 on third down. 0 for 11. And they almost lost. I mean, that's crazy. Houston's third down defense is 18th in the league, allowing conversion 39.2% of the time. But over the last 3 weeks, it's the 5th best third down defense in the league, allowing conversions 29.4% of the time. Derek Stingley had 2 picks. Jimmy Ward intercepted that Russell Wilson pass in the end zone to seal the deal. Will Anderson Jr. had a breakout game. They're waiting for this. It happened. 2 sacks. 4 of the Texans' 8 quarterback hits by Will Anderson Jr. He deflected one of the balls that Stingley intercepted. He deflected a punt. He was an absolute monster. They held the Broncos to 1 of 3 in the red zone. The Texans are 10th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns 51.3% of the time. Jets coming off that ugly 13-8 loss at home to the Falcons in the driving rain. It was a costly loss as they fall further out of the playoff race, and Aaron Rodgers says he'll only return if they're still in the hunt. They actually outgained the Falcons 259-194. Tim Boyle was 14-25 for 148 yards and interception. He was pulled in the fourth quarter for Trevor Siemian, who was no better, 5 of 13 for 66 yards. And he also, in that short period of time, Trevor Siemian fumbled the ball 3 times. Now, he only lost 1 of them. So they want to go back to Zach Wilson, right? They want to go back to Zach Wilson. But there's this rumor going around that he's hesitant to start, and it's being corroborated. So they're saying that he is apprehensive due to a perceived injury risk. If that's the case, and I was on the Jets, I would injure him in the locker room. If you're like, and I almost don't want to talk about how I feel about it because how could this be true? You're not going to have a job in the NFL. You don't deserve a job in the NFL. You know how many people would love that opportunity that he's getting to show out because he's not going to have a career in the NFL, and what he doesn't want to be out there because there's if that is the case. And I won't do it right now, but I've got horrifying things to say about him. Just horrible, horrible things. That little bitch. But I don't know if that's true. It sounds like it can't possibly be true. It's just crazy. Wilson has 6.1 yard average per attempt, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He has a 73.8 rating. He's only completed 59.2% of his passes. He had that really nice game against the Chiefs, right? 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Other than that, he hasn't had a passer rating better than 81.4. He's had 4 sub-70 ratings. He had a 38.1% in Dallas. He's getting this incredible opportunity to maybe have a chance at a job in this league. And he doesn't want to go out there because they have a perceived injury risk. It almost sounds unfathomable that could be the case. Breece Hall struggled running again, 13 carries for 16 yards. He did catch 6 for 29. Xavier Gibson caught 5 for 77. And Dalvin Cook ran 9 times for 35 yards and caught an 11-yard pass, but he also fumbled. They continue their horrific numbers on third down. They were 2 of 15 on third down. They're last in the league, converting 23.1% of third downs. Over the last 3 games, that number drops to 17.5%. Can you imagine a team that's converting 17.5% of third downs? Unbelievable. The defense kept them in the game, held the Falcons to just 194 yards, 3 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, held them to 414 on third down. They're only 23rd on third down defense. But that's because they're on the field so long. But it's not a good number. They allow opponents to convert 41.3% of the time. Falcons were 0 for 1 in the red zone. The Jets' red zone defense has been very good all year long. 5th in the league, allowing opponents scored just 42.4% red zone drives. And they have players now heading to the injured reserve. Defensive tackle Perion Winfrey with the foot injury. Tight end CJ Uzoma with the MCL. They're both extensive. Winfrey is done for the season. It's too bad. And Uzoma is going to be gone. He could return for the regular season finale against the Patriots. Wide receiver Jason Brownlee had an ankle injury. Salah didn't know what his timetable was. He went without a catch, 34 offensive snaps. He's not that big of a deal. Take it away for us here. I know this has gone through the number, but is it possible to actually back the New York Jets here?
Jesus Christ, man, this is a tough game because, in my opinion, every time you fade a team like the Jets or the Pats, you're just playing with fire. They're both due for a win. They're priced too low in the market. Nothing goes up or down forever in a straight line. It's time for a market correction. Dead cat bouncy, I'm starting to hear people call it. That's a term you hear in you're tracking stocks or you're trading in the markets. You hear dead cat bounce all the time. And you're starting to see it in the NFL. I could totally see this being a buy spot on the Jets. They still have a top 5 defense in New York, and they're strong at every positional group, in my opinion. They stayed within that. They stayed within range of this last game against the Falcons, despite 3 turnovers, the terrible third down conversion rate. I think 2 of 15. I think you said there's something along. I remember watching during the game, and I was like, Jesus Christ, had they converted a third down? And it was like almost halftime. I couldn't believe it. I just think that the Texans are going to struggle in these conditions. Look at the body of work they've put up this year. It's very impressive, but it hasn't been versus an elite defense. None of their performances have been versus an elite defense by any means, any stretch of the imagination. And they can't run the ball efficiently. So if we're going to get bad weather conditions, you're going to force this rookie quarterback to drop back and pass in this type of weather versus this type of defense. Jesus, just smells like disaster. It feels like one spot. There's only one way you can go in this game. I'm not taking the Texans money line. I really think the Jets are going to win this game. But can I get Zach Wilson? Nobody's going to be good under Nathaniel Hackett and Robert Saleh. This coaching staff has this offense doomed, in my opinion. Terrible scheme, terrible approach. They're not being coached up well. But at least Zach Wilson will be athletic and can be athletic in the pocket, make plays with his legs. I want to move on the Jets. Jesus Christ. It's my problem, man.
I want to too. But, I mean, how can we do that right now until Zach Wilson says he's going to play and you watch him interviewed and show some confidence?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I want the Jets. I think this is sort of a tricky spot for Stroud and the Texans. We don't see them in these conditions. I mean, they certainly Stroud has not been in these conditions in the NFL. Londo says you guys are crazy. I mean, I hear you, Londo. I mean, it's not a popularity contest. We're just trying to make money, and I think that this has gone through that number 2 that you've been talking about, that we watch Cash nonstop. And yeah, Top said that's his play no matter who shows up. Harold Williams says Jets not winning anything. Look, when you have a 5.5, 6-point dog, you don't need them to win shit. You just need them to cover and be in a close game. You think the Texans look at the Texans running game. Are you it's let's say it's pouring rain and the wind's 15 miles per hour. Is Dameon Pierce, who's not had a good season, and Devin Singletary, are they going to hurt you?
No, I'm not. All right. I'm taking it. I'm going to get the Jets right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that too tonight. Okay, Troy's moving on.
I got that affinity where I have to bet it now. Like, I don't want to sit on it because I don't want to count it. It's gone through my number. I have to fucking get it in. I have to get it.
Well, Londo's 100% confident the Texans will cover in this game. 100% confident. I hope you are max betting at Londo, my friend. And I, that's part of the fun. We don't need to agree with each other here. Okay, Jets for Troy, Jets for Elio, and I expect to move on the Jets this evening.
And you know what beat this line down? It wasn't the sharp action on the spread. It was the sharp action on the money line. I have that note on my phone that I'm looking at right now. I didn't translate it to my spreadsheet, but the cash that beat this line down was the money line, not the spread, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a really tricky spot for the Texans, who are a really good football team, and I can't wait to watch CJ Stroud. Or this is nothing against the Texans. I just think this is sort of a tricky spot for them here, and now you got to cover by margin, win by margin. I'm with you.
Do you think we wait and maybe a 6 flashes? Like, I think this definitely closes 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4. Because once it goes through 5, it usually goes straight down to 4, 3.5.
Yeah,
at least that's what it's, like the Bengals game, like all these games, they usually close just like the Panthers did, right? Do we wait and see if maybe we get a 6 flash one more time?
I can get a 6 right now. I can bet it right now at Pinnacle minus 114. The 5.5's minus 104.
Lucky dog, you.
The 5.5 is minus 104. All right, I'm and Topset said this line goes to 4.
All right, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a 6. I'll gladly bet it at 5. I'll be watching it very closely over the next 24 hours.
I'm gonna move on it tonight. And again, this is not us believing in the Jets or disbelieving in the Texans. It's just the spot in the rain. It's just the spot.
Rookie on the road has shown vulnerabilities. The coaching staff is starting to show that they're not perfect. You have some injuries on this Texan. It's the spot. It's a great spot to bet back the Jets, especially if we get Zach Wilson.
I think so too. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, and I've already moved on this one. At 1 p.m. Eastern, I've only made 2 bets pre-flop here for the show, and this is one of them. Los Angeles Rams 6-6, 3-3 on the road. Baltimore Ravens 9-3, 4-2 at home at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. 61 Fahrenheit rain, 17 mile per hour winds. I moved on the total here, and I look. That's another thing that I found very, very interesting. Look, it would be best if this show was on a Monday, but we have Monday Night Football, and I like hosting the live streams. I get great joy out of hosting the Monday Nighter, and this is supposed to be fun too, and I think it hurts me. But this idea that you can't beat market moves on a Tuesday is wild, because this one was destroyed today. I guess not destroyed. I'm beat it by 2 or 2.5 points, so let's not get too cocky. But it was 44.5, so I could have got a 43.5 yesterday, but it was stuck at 42.5 until this morning. Now I saw that Pinnacle had it at minus 116, the under 42.5, and of course we think Pinnacle is the sharpest book, and Bet365 was letting me bet it at minus 110, and so I did. Then there was a 2-point move to the under at 11:31 a.m. and I got in at 9:45. So I've beaten this by 2 or 2.5 points, and I like it. But again, Stafford's smart, but the Rams don't play in the rain very often with the wind at 17 mile per hour. Now they have Kyron Williams ready to go, and that will help them. But the Ravens are comfortable in this situation. It's not cold, though. That's a huge piece, too. It's 61 Fahrenheit. It warms up. That's why they're expecting all the rain, because it's going to warm up real quickly here. From a side perspective here in this one, move over here, we have it at 7. It's a lot of points. It's actually 7.5 now at Pinnacle. It's not a real 7.5, but it did move to 7.5. And the Rams at plus 7.5 moved this morning at 10 a.m. was a minus 110 spot. It's now minus 118, so it sort of is back to a 7. We get to the cash flow for Rams, Ravens. Oh, shoot. Sorry, that's Pinnacle. Sorry, it's not cash flow. We get to the cash flow for Rams, Ravens here. We have it. Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. 22% of the tickets and 75% of the cash is on the Rams. So big bets on the Rams. So why would Pinnacle move from 7 to 7.5? That makes very little sense. Makes very little sense. And then 63% of tickets and 98% cash is on the under. Those were the numbers this morning. So here we go. Rams coming off that 36-19 win at home over the Browns. Rams have won 3 straight for the first time since 2021, since they won the Super Bowl. They're one of 4 teams at 6-6. They're in that race for the last 2 wildcard spots. They're right there, right in the thick of it. Put up 399 yards on the Browns' top-rated defense. Stafford was 22 of 37 for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's been so good this year, man. Him and McVay has been so good. And this young secondary, they're gonna be bet on next year. This young secondary is just going to get stronger and stronger. And so since returning from the thumb injury, so 3 games, Stafford's been back, 8 touchdown passes, 2 picks. He's playing really well. Puka Nacua caught 4 for 105 in a touchdown. First Rams rookie receiver to reach 1,000 yards in a season ever. They've never had one. Kyron Williams ran 21 times for 88 yards. Touchdown, caught 3 for 24. They were 4 of 12 on third down. They're 13th in the league, converting 40.9% of third downs. They were 3 of 4 in the red zone, and that's Stafford and McVay, man. Oh, and of course, Cooper Kupp and Nacua, and you got Kyron Williams. I mean, they're 7th in the league. They scored touchdowns on 63.9% of their red zone drives. But that's in controlled conditions. This is going to be tough on them. Their defense allowed Joe Flacco-led offense to put up 327 yards and hold the ball for 34 minutes. The Browns were 7 of 16 on third down. The Rams have very pedestrian defense still. It's going to improve, but we're going to have to wait a year, I think, for that. Third down defense, 19th in the league, allowing conversions 40% of the time. Browns are 1 of 2 in the red zone. They're 15th in the league, allowing touchdowns on 52.8% of opponent red zone drives. Very pedestrian. Pass rush had 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and John Johnson had that crucial fourth quarter interception. Ravens coming off their bye week. Last seen in a 2010 win at the Chargers. This is a really interesting group here. Statistically, they are elite. There's no doubt about it. Lamar Jackson under Monken has looked pretty good. Todd Monken is new offensive coordinator. Lamar Jackson has a career high completion percentage at 68.3%. But there are problems. There are things that aren't going well. First off, 11 fumbles, second most in the league. Also, he is incapable of going deep. He's 10 of 38 with a pick on throws of 20 or more air yards. That's a minus 7.7 completion percentage above expectation. That's from Next Gen. They've also had one game under their belt without star tight end Mike Andrews, and Isaiah likely performed well. I think I overdid that. I think that Isaiah likely, no, he's not Mark Andrews, but I think that he's a quality tight end and will get better as the season goes on. The Ravens scored at least 31 points in 5 straight games before that 20 spot against the Chargers. And then here are some other concerns. Let's talk about the concerns about the Ravens. How high should we put them? How high should they be? I'm not sure about this yet, but here are some more problems for them. They are 14th in pass blocking efficiency, and the Chargers were all over them. So Lamar Jackson is the 4th quickest time to throw this season, 2.62 seconds. But he was pressured at his 4th highest rate against the Chargers, 44.4%. That's a problem, and it's getting worse. Their pass blocking efficiency is getting worse. But look at these stats. They're 3rd in red zone offense, scoring touchdown 64.6% time, 7th and third down offense, converting 43.4% of the opportunities. Their run defense can be a problem. They're 11th in league in run defense. They allow 102.3 yards per game. And we're not used to that. That's the most they've allowed since 2020. They're allowing 4.3 yards per carry. That's 21st in the league. So they are 2nd in yards allowed per game. They're 2nd in points allowed. They're 3rd in passing yards allowed. They lead the league in sacks. They're tied for 7th in takeaways. So the run defense is their only weak spot. But that is a problem. Their red zone defense, 3rd in the league. Their third down defense, 7th in the league. They're a really good football team. But do you want them as 7-point favorites here against the Rams? Troy, take it away. Rams, Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium.
Did you touch on the weather in this game?
Yeah, 61 Fahrenheit rain, 17 mile per hour winds.
It's a beautiful thing, man, because I'll be looking to fade the Rams until further notice. They're overpriced in the market. And this 7.5, I mean, you could really argue, are they overpriced in the market? But this is one of those lines, in my opinion, that shows extreme strength towards the Baltimore Ravens. What is this number if they don't, if the Browns cover or win that game, which they were totally in position to do so? It's definitely not, what is it, 8.5, 9.5, maybe 10. Who knows what this number could be? Point being, this team is overpriced. Hopefully the Sharps bait this line a little bit lower. I don't think it'll go below 6. If that's the case, run. Don't bet it. But I will be looking for, maybe the Ravens do get 7, 6.5. If it comes to 7, no pick them. I'll bet it straight. Man, but this Rams, the only non-Seahawk Cardinal road games, they lost versus a hobbled Joe Burrow when the Bengals were not the Bengals, that they turned into, and when they beat the San Francisco 49ers. They got destroyed in Dallas, and they got destroyed in Green Bay. Now, that has a little asterisk by it because Brett Rippon was the starter. This offense is good. I think Stafford's been incredible in terms of how he's executed McVay's game plan, because McVay's sharp, man. He's a sharp coach. He's a guy I don't like to fade. I talked about my dismay fading him last week. Paid the price. I think Puka, I said it last week as well, I think this guy's a Hall of Famer, man. This guy is an incredible receiver. Been hitting myself in the nuts for not taking him in a lot more of my fantasy pick'ems, some of the what do they call, weekly winners that I did on Underdog Fantasy, because I have my one team and I've cashed a few just because of him. Literally, Puka's making a massive difference in the fantasy world. But this defense, I think they're going to be completely exploited by this Ravens run game, especially with these wins. It's going to be a lot harder for Stafford to deal the ball downfield versus a team that can cover. This Ravens team, if there's something they could do, it's cover receivers and, defend the passing game. If they're playing for first place, I haven't moved on this spread yet. I'll be looking to move on the spread, but I did move on a teaser. I got them down to -1, and I teased them with the Bills up to 8.5. And I really love that. I put 2 units on it. I actually have a little bit more invested in 2 units. I think it's 2.5 now. I kind of just been betting it just because I love this spot for these two teams on a teaser. Excuse me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So at this point, you want to see that it sticks at 7 or goes to 7.5.
Yeah. I think I'll take a 7 if it gets down to a pick 'em, to -110 price. Maybe if a 6.5, I'll definitely be betting it. If it gets below a 6.5, I'll regret all the action I have on them.
Right now at Pinnacle, the 7's -112, 6.5's -130.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever get there, especially because I feel like we've seen a lot of sharp action on this Rams team. I think people are going to find value in this team. I think the pros are going to find value in this team, but there's some spots in the database you start digging through. It doesn't work out in their favor at this price when you have heavy sharp action on a touchdown favorite at home, and if you throw the wind and the elements, this game I feel like it just works out perfectly for the Ravens to come out and hammer this team.
Off the bye week too, rested. 22% of the tickets and 75% of the cash on the Rams. What do you make of that?
That's what that's what I'm saying is if we don't see this number get down to 6, if it stays at 7 and you see all this sharp action on the Rams, this is a fade spot, man. This is where the bookies are going head to head with the sharps. They're going to clean their clocks like they did. Seahawks Cowboys over was one of them. I mean, I could go down a list of them. Of games where sharps get hammered. I think this is one of them.
So your teaser again is
It is the Ravens -1, Bills +8.5.
Ravens -1. That does sound nice. Bills +8.5. All right. I'm very interested in the Ravens. I wasn't until this show. That's the beauty of talking it out with you guys. And the chat all over it says waiting, but like Ravens if we can get under 7, says Doug. Brent Cook says Ravens D would have to really mess this up. Says Rams defense going to get shredded. Fantasy Freak says yep, fading the Rams in Baltimore. Topset says great teaser spot as well. Says weather is Ravens cover spot with Rams passing game being an issue in the wind. So a lot of Londo liking Ravens first half. Brent Cook says seems like a Ravens slaughter. Harold Williams on Ravens first half.
This Ravens rushing attack is perfect in my opinion. The way they could stretch the field horizontally in the running game with motion and the way they just incorporate everybody. Tom Munkin, his scheme in the running game has been brilliant in my opinion. I think it's really going to show out in this type of game.
Truth Teller says Ravens smash. All right, let's roll on. Those are the 1 p.m. games. Let's move into afternoon action for Sunday, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. We have the Minnesota Vikings, 6-6, 4-2 on the road at Las Vegas Raiders, 5-7, 4-2 at home, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Both teams coming off bye weeks. This is the one I really was excited to talk out with you guys because, well, I've got Minnesota season. Oh, by the way, I cashed my Colts season win total over. I've got Minnesota season win total under. And watching Dobbs fall apart was beautiful. Watching the Bears take care of business was beautiful. We also cashed the SGP in that game. It was just a lot of beautiful. Here, initially, I want the Raiders, but I do not think the Raiders are a good football team. And I could easily just stay off of it. This opened up at 2.5 and it's now at 3. It moved to 3 this morning and it was a legit 2.5 at a pick'em. Now it's a legit 3 at a pick'em. So that's a big move. 2.5 to 3. Let's go over to the total in this one over here. From a total side of things, we have a 40.5 -117 to the under. It was -107 to the under. There's been a 10-cent move towards the under. Doug liking the Vikings in this, and Truth Teller says the Vikings smash. Let's get to the cash flow for this one. We have 47% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on the Raiders. So bigger bets coming on the Raiders. The book's not respecting it. Then we have 56% of the tickets and 90% cash on the under. We've seen it move with juice, but we haven't seen the number drop really. So both teams come off bye weeks. Minnesota was last seen in that 12-10 loss at home to the Bears on Monday night. So after the horrific performance by Dobbs in the loss, O'Connell is saying that he's looking at all of his options at quarterback. He's not announcing a starting quarterback. So I think it's going to be Dobbs. But it could easily be Nick Mullins. And to listen to O'Connell, he's still high on Jaron Hall. So the fifth round pick out of BYU, he's back in practice. Nick Mullins has been Cousins' backup for the past 2 seasons. He's activated from injured reserve after recovering from the back injury. He's been Dobbs' backup the past 2 games. So we don't know who's starting. And, it's really tricky for those of you guys who are saying Viking smash. How do you put together a game script if you don't know who's at quarterback? Justin Jefferson returns off a 7-game absence. Jordan Addison has 9 catches for 83 yards in the past 2 games. Is he not alpha? Can you not be a number one WR1? He caught 6 of 10 targets on Monday for 39 yards, and he had that pass that went off his hands for the interception. He looks bad. But let's talk about what's going well for Minnesota, and that's Brian Flores has done a heck of a job with this defense, man. Minnesota sacked Justin Fields 3 times. They're 11th now in the NFL in sacks with 32. And I was the one who was saying as soon as Marcus Davenport's out, they're screwed because everybody will focus on Danielle Hunter, who has 13.5 sacks. Now, Khalil Mack now has 15, but before the week started, he was the leader in sacks at 13.5. It's because of DJ Wanham. I mean, this guy, he's emerged as a real threat. I think he's got 6 sacks. I don't have it in front of me, but he's emerged as a real threat, doing everything that they paid Marcus Davenport $13 million to do. And it's taken the pressure off Danielle Hunter, allowed Danielle Hunter to be the man. So they've also handled the loss of Jordan Hicks well. And Josh Metellus, man, 9 tackles, a half sack, 2 forced fumbles on Monday night. They're 25th on third down, allowing opponents to convert third downs 41.8% of the time. I'm not going to bother with their stats in red zone or offensively or third down because I don't know who's at quarterback. I mean, we're talking about what are mostly Kevin Cousins. Cousins stats. Kevin Cousins is an old hockey player. Sorry. Why, there's no point to drop their offense, but defense are important. 9th in red zone defense, allowing opponents to score TDs on 50% of their red zone drives. Minnesota also is getting crushed because Ryan Wright, who everybody thought was so good, has been horrific. He's been so bad. Minnesota allows opponents to start at the average of a 30.8 yard line this year. That's 5th worst in the NFL. And he is 30th in his net punting average. I mean, he's been bad. He's been bad. Raiders were last seen a 31-17 home loss to the Chiefs. Saw them go 14-0 before being dominated the rest of the way. The Chiefs were 3 of 3 in the red zone, and the Raiders were 1 for 3. I mean, it's pretty easy to see what happened. The Raiders had 7 plays of over 15 yards. Chiefs had 17. The bye week was so important for Max Crosby. The bye week is more important to the Raiders than it is to the Vikings. He was doubtful to play. He still played with his heavily wrapped knee. He needed this time off. Robert Spillane has been a beast. He's helped Crosby immensely. Leads the Raiders in tackles, total tackles, solo tackles, interceptions, and is 86.7 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus. That's 2nd on the team, only trailing Max. They're 26th in third down defense, 27th in red zone defense. Look, they're not a good football team. Aiden O'Connell's coming off a pretty efficient game, 248 yards, 70% completion rate, 101.6 quarterback rating. That's a season high for him. Jacoby Myers caught a 6 touchdown pass of the season. Josh Jacobs is looked quite a bit better. He still leads the league in rushing attempts, but not in anything else. Now, their offense is not very good. 27th in red zone offense, 27th third down offense. But now you have Josh Jacobs, who I think will have a strong second half of the year. You have Jacoby Myers confident. You have Aiden O'Connell, who desperately needed a week just to go over game plan, get some confidence after an efficient start. You have Max Crosby, who needed the break for his knee. I'm surprised this has moved a half point towards the Vikings. Take it away, Troy. Floor is yours, Vikings, Raiders.
This market is fascinating. I want to talk about it more at the end of this, but I've come a long way with this Vikings team. They were on my fade list. I've removed them a couple weeks ago, and I actually faded them with the Bears, but that was definitely a spot play. Question marks at quarterback is a huge turnoff, but this defense has been so consistent. Flores, in my opinion, the scheme he's put together and what he's working with this team and the talent that they have, maybe I'm underestimating their talent, but I think a lot of it's Flores and with this scheme that's clearly confusing quarterbacks game in and game out. They're number 1 in pass block per PFF, number 7 in run block. It's just, I feel like there's a good reason they're laying 3 points, and that's a very strong 3. The Raiders are a league average team. You look at metrics, positional grades, etc. Basically across the board, you'll find everything is pretty much neutral in terms of they're a league average team. But they've been much better at home under the new regimen. Home teams catching 3, though, have been ugly, man. When home team closes at +3, I touched on it with the Bears. The market move, when the home team closes at +3, the market move is 5-14 ATS. So in this case, it moves towards the Vikings, right? They went from +2.5 to +3. That would say fade.
Oh, so we just lost Troy. We'll get Troy back here right at the key point. But he was going to say that the market move is 5-14 against the spread. The market move is moved towards the Vikings, which would tell you that the Raiders are the play, which is wild. And that's why his database is incredible. And it's going to help us out so much. So, well, I'm very interested in the Raiders, extremely interested in the Raiders. So we'll get Troy back here in a second. So that's the spot there. I'm ready to move on to the next spot on the board, but I do find the Raiders very appealing, and I think that this total spot here, move over here once more, the under is quite appealing as well. My issue is I want to know who the hell is going to be a quarterback for the Vikings. Now, you got to think it's Dobbs, and they're going to give Dobbs another chance, but if he looks bad, Nick Mullen's going to be in there really quickly. Topset says he agrees with Raiders being inside, but I feel that the team total is low. I'm concerned about the Vikings defense. I was very wrong about what was going to happen when Davenport was out. And I was also probably wrong in regards to how good Flores is. And so, Troy, you left right at the key point, and I think you were going to say if the market move is wrong from 2.5 to 3, and it's moved towards the Vikings, and if it's 5-14 against the spread, the market move with the home dog, and that market move being wrong, then the Vikings would be the fade.
Correct. That is correct. And in some of these price ranges, the market is just inefficient, or it's a trap. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, and I'm confused as to why this market hasn't moved to the under. Because the home dogs at +3, I've been looking at the totals. I've been betting the unders all season, but usually they almost always have gone to the under. This one hasn't moved despite all the sharps on the under, but home dogs at +3 with the move to the under are 14-1 to the under, and it hasn't moved to the under at this point. I'm just confused as to why it hasn't, because I kind of agree. I kind of like the under, but I'd like to see it drop a little bit, in my opinion.
It has moved at Pinnacle. It has moved 10 cents
towards the under.
Yeah.
It just hasn't dropped a half a point or a full point yet.
Right.
I'll be considering it. I have it on my to watch list. I'll probably be moving on the under in this game. I don't think I'll be interested in backing the side.
I'm interested in backing the Raiders. I'm interested in backing the under. I'd like to do both. I would like to do both. I would like to do both. And
let's do it. Let's do it.
I might get there. I'm very interested in it. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait to hear your breakdown on this football game. Seattle Seahawks 6-6, 2-4 on the road. San Francisco 49ers 9-3, 4-1 at home. We're at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. 62 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Start with the line history here in this one. I love this show so much. It's so helpful for me. I feel like it's that I get too selfish because I formulate my plan here with you and with the chat, and I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't good content. Maybe it's just for me to succeed as a gambler. 49ers open up at 12.5 point favorites, and it moves to 10, and then up to 10.5. The 10 was minus 112 to the Niners, so it moved to 10.5. So we got a 2-point move to the Seattle Seahawks, and I am interested. I have left a lot of money on the table not backing my 49ers from week to week. I've only bet one 49er game all year, and I faded them against the Vikings, and I cashed it. I'm interested in doing the same thing here. The total opens up at 45.5. It's gone up a point to 46.5. My guy Big Scott in the house, Markel also. Great to see you guys. From a cash flow standpoint here, we have 49% of the tickets and 55% of the cash on the Seahawks. And that's a big move to them. Then we have 68% of the cash on the under, and yet it's moved up a point. Seahawks come in off extra rest after losing 41-35 to the Cowboys on Thursday night. Neither team punted. 5th time in NFL history that happened. Of course, we doubled up on the over. Worked out beautifully. Seahawks scored touchdowns on 5 of their first 7 drives. They'd come in with 20 consecutive possessions without an offensive touchdown. And we were using the reference of the Packers game against the Lions on Thanksgiving. That first play, that 53-yard play, you knew that was an offense that needed to get on track immediately. And same thing with the Seahawks. When DK Metcalf broke, and watching Jerome Bland get he still got an interception late in the game, but he got burnt a bunch of times. But I just felt that was coming. DK Metcalf caught 6 passes for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns. Geno Smith was 23 of 41 for 334 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. 20 consecutive possessions without an offensive touchdown, and then they score 5 on their first 7 drives. With Kenneth Walker out with an oblique injury for the second straight game, Charbonnet had 19 carries for 60 yards and touchdown, caught a pass for 39 yards. And they were talking about how bad his knee puffed up after the game. Puffed up like crazy after the game. And so both running backs are listed as questionable right now for the Seahawks. But the 2-point move must tell us that this was enough time for Charbonnet. He's not even on the – well, he is listed as questionable. But Seahawks were 9 of 14 on third down. They've struggled on third down all year, 26th in the league, converting just 34.5% of the time. They were 4 or 5 in the red zone. That's also been a tough spot for them. They ranked 23rd, scoring touchdowns 51.2% of the time. The pass rush was able to dial up pressure, 4 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. But they couldn't get stops. The Cowboys were 8 of 14 on third down. I've been saying this all year. I mean, the Seahawks are so bad in third down. They're so bad in the red zone defensively. They're 25th. It's a little better now. They were 29th for most of the year, but they're 25th, allowing opponents to score 63.2% of red zone drives. And Jordan Brooks sprained his ankle. He's a big piece, and he's listed as questionable. The 49ers coming off a monster 42-19 victory of the Eagles. How is this not a letdown spot? How? I don't know. They went into Seattle, destroyed the Seahawks. They go into Philadelphia, destroy Philadelphia. Now they're playing the Seahawks again after the beating that they handed to them. I don't see how this is not a letdown spot. The offense looked incredible. 456 total yards. Brock Purdy, 19-27 for 314 yards, 4 touchdowns. Debo caught 4 for 116, 2 touchdowns, ran 3 times for 22 yards and a touchdown. McCaffrey ran 17 times for 93 yards, touchdown, caught 3 for 40. 8 for 11 on third down. 5th in the league, converting 46.9% of third downs. A perfect 4 for 4 in the red zone. 3rd in the league, scoring touchdowns on 64.6% of red zone opportunities. The defense looked strong. Held the Eagles just 46 yards rushing. Eagles did go 8 of 15 on third down. Look, there's some defensive spots that the 49ers aren't very good at. 22nd in the league in third down defense. Now they're 11th in the league in red zone defense. But, those aren't massive numbers. Pass rush finished with 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Take it away for us right now. Seahawks, 49ers, Troy, Levi Stadium.
If you've been watching this show, you know my sentiment towards the Seahawks team. I've been fading them at will pretty much all season. After the 4th or 5th week, I just continue to fade them pretty much every single week. Now their price is a double-digit dog in division. I just think it's time to buy them. Low point in the market. Buy low, sell high. I truly believe it's a lot like trading in the equity markets, and I think this is a perfect spot to buy him. Like you touched on the perfect, exactly what I'm thinking in this game. It's just the perfect spot to fade the 49ers, who probably are not going to be looking past the Seahawks. But at the same time, the motivation just ain't going to be there to drill and hammer, destroy another team. After what they just did on the road, I feel like they're getting fat and happy. Seattle's teetering on a win. They proved that they could compete against elite competition when they played against the Cowboys. The Seahawks team, I mean, they're not a playoff team this year. I've been saying it all season long. I want to buy the bottom. That's pretty much the end of my cap. I really want the Seahawks in this spot. I think they get the job done. You look in the database, the trends, it's not very big trends. You can't find a lot of games where the spread move like this. And the only time, it's a 2-0 trend, okay? The road team is cashed both times. It closed at 10 or 10.5 after a move towards the road team. Usually 10, 10.5, you always see market moves towards the home team, which I found extremely interesting because in like a 20-game sample, only 2 games have done this. and both of them cashed and cashed easily. The road team won, or the home team won both of them, but at the same time, it was a 3-point game and a 4-point game. So I think the Seahawks had the chance to cover by margin. Maybe we won't be sweating it at all in this game. Who knows? It's time to buy low on the Seahawks, I believe. I'm close to moving.
Well, I completely agree with you, and I will be betting the Seahawks this evening. I completely agree with you. And now Chris Mack, as it says, not sure San Francisco will let down knowing number one seed online with the win and Eagles loss. I hear that. But it just seems like a tough spot to be completely locked in. You know how good they feel about themselves? You hear Debo walking off the field. I mean, wow, they feel real good about themselves. And they went into Seattle and they smashed Seattle. Seattle has a lot of pride on the line, and they got their offense back rolling again. So I'm going to move on this plus 10.5. Perfect Rotation says last 3 10-point spreads have not covered. It's up to you how you want to back it, but I see this as a contest pick. I see this as one of the best spots on the board. I just wanted to sit with it and talk it out. Who better than you to fade your team? I'm going to be on the Seahawks plus 10.5. I'm bet as soon as show
And
up.
who better than I to back a team I faded all season? Like it's just everything's lining up.
I agree. All right. Sorry. The minus 10s have not covered. Okay, I like that. Thank you. I wasn't sure. Okay, beautiful. I like that. But G. Martinez says San Francisco beat down. A lot of people will. Terry Walker says I think Seattle's high for hanging in with Dallas. High. They're going to play a team that absolutely destroyed them in front of their own fans. You think they're going to come in cocky, feeling good about themselves? I don't. Let's move on. Next up, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. This is an absolute beauty. Buffalo Bills 6-6, just 1-4 on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs 8-4, 4-2 at home. We're at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. 36 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We'll start with the side. From a side perspective here, Buffalo is plus 2.5 over at Pinnacle. They opened up plus 2.5. No movement. None. Wild. This total is at 47.5, juice to the under. Opened up at minus 107, 6 cents of movement to minus 113. Get to the cash flow in this one. We have 68% of the tickets and 40% of the cash. 68% of tickets, 40% of cash on the Bills. So there are some big bets coming in on the Chiefs. 63% of the tickets, 78% cash on the over. This was another game I was very excited to talk out. I did not, I get so much out of this show. So Doug is on the Bills plus 2.5. North Ender says he's not a big futures guy, but he was staring at Buffalo futures all day. Troy and I talked about that, 2 weeks ago, right? We were staring and I was like, how can you can't move on them until they finish this horrific 3 or 4 week 3-game run. Because right now, they're on the outside looking in, basically. Spenny Pennybomb says he wants the Bills, but Chiefs just had that loss to Green Bay. Tough spot. North Ender says if they can win 2 of their next 3, you have a great bet. Yes, I agree, but they have to win this one. So let's roll. Bills coming off their bye week, last seen in a tough 37-34 overtime loss to Philadelphia. 6 losses have all been decided by 6 points or less and 2 in overtime. At some point, you need to look at the head coach as well. So they go 6 straight games without scoring over 25 points, which is nuts. This offense, second best red zone team in the league, 67.4% of red zone drives they cash. The best third down offense in the league. They fired the offensive coordinator who has the best third down offense and the second best red zone offense. And I get why they did it, but so they go 6 straight games without scoring over 25 points. That's the longest stretch in Allen's career, by the way. Then they've gone for 66 points and 898 yards in the last 2 games. Their defense is middling and mediocre. And look, they had to deal with injuries and it affected them and it's hurt them. And you see it and then you have the domestic issue that's plaguing the defensive front. So, look, Von Miller is a problem. Not having Matt Milano is a problem. You see it. They're 13th in red zone defense, 17th in third down defense. Chiefs come in off a tough 27-19 loss at Green Bay. Mahomes was 21-33 for 210 yards, touchdown and pick. Kelsey caught 4 for 81. Rashee Rice caught 8 for 64. Pacheco ran 18 times for 110 yards and touchdown. Caught 3 passes for 13 yards. Chiefs were 7 of 11 on third down, 7 for 11. They're 4th in the league on third down, 47%. So you have the 4th best third down team in the Chiefs against the best third down team in the Bills. They were 2 of 4 in the red zone. They're just 13th in the league in red zone scoring, 55.6%. The defense allowed the Packers to put up 382 yards. This is this top 5 defense we were talking about. Pass rush didn't look good. 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. Packers are 3 of 4 in the red zone. We keep talking about how great this defense is. They're 21st in red zone defense. They allow teams to score touchdowns on 58.9% of opponent red zone drives. They're 13th in third down defense, allowing opponents to convert 38% of the time. Drew Tranquil is in concussion protocol. Brian Cook was carted off the field, but x-rays have come back negative. He's listed as questionable. We have a huge one on our hands here. Harold Williams says Kansas City will bounce back. Doug says the Chiefs are massively overrated. Alex Ramirez likes the Chiefs minus 2.5. Brent Cook says Bills plus 3. This should be a showdown, come down to the wire type game. Take it away for us here, Troy. Bills, Chiefs.
I don't want to beat a dead horse with this team, but I've been talking about this all season long. This is not the same Kansas City team. All the underlying metrics suggest that to be true. Mahomes, worst analytical year of his career. The whole entire, every positional group is grading out worse than it was last year. That's just not something I can get behind. And the worst part of all of this is that they have the worst 2 positions on their offense, on their entire offense. Think about how bad the receivers are and how much they struggle getting explosive plays and getting, production out of their skill positions. It's the left tackle and the right tackle who grade out lower than everybody else. It just blows my mind because that's not consistent with what we've seen in KC for the past 5 years. And I think it's time to fade them. I think they're due for a little their own version of a bear market. KC is 8-4, but quite frankly, they grade out as a middle of the pack, more of a 500 to 6-6 team. Whereas the Bills are 6-6, but they grade out like an 8-4 team. Actually, they grade out better than that. If you look at some of the underlying metrics, I think there's more regression to come, favorably for the Bills, unfavorably for the Chiefs. I think that I want to back a team that's going to be more desperate to win this game. I think that team's going to be the Bills. And that's what I did. I talked about my play earlier. I'm on the teaser with the Ravens and the Bills. I'll be interested in backing the Bills at +3. I'll be interested in backing the Bills on the money line, maybe a round robin. I'm looking towards the Bills in this game. Fade the Chiefs.
That 3 is good. Let's see how much it costs here. 3 is minus 126. You think we're gonna get a 3 with decent vig?
I don't think we're ever going to see a 3, and that's my issue with the spread right now. Is that I've talked about teams that open and close at 2.5. Actually, that's a really favorable trend. Very favorable trend. Home teams that open and close at 2.5 do not cover. The road team is 9-3 ATS. And I've made a post about this, and I'll be posting a lot of market trends. I haven't pulled all that stuff together yet at this point in the week, but I will definitely be posting about this game. Let's hope it closes at 2.5.
Yeah. And Londo says the under 47 is his best bet in the game. What do you think about this total? It certainly makes me nervous. We have seen a slight 6-cent move towards the under, which is a good sign if you love it. What do you think of the total in this one?
I'm so strong on the side. I doubt I'll be betting a total at this point. These 47.5s, 48s. I like to bet them when we've seen sharp moves or strong, not sharp moves. Just we see the books moving it towards the over. In this case, it's moving towards the under. But being priced in this range in general, the books are already coming with sentiment that this game is going to go over the total. Just setting that line that high, opening it up this high, makes me lean towards the over, not the under.
Well, I wish the Chiefs didn't lose, but I see what you're saying. It would be a slam dunk if the Chiefs are coming in off of a win. But I still like the look. I still think that we're at the point now where and I know they already fired the offensive coordinator, but jobs are on the line. Jobs are on the line for the Bills. Season's on the line. And I think that they play well here. I think they play really well. So I'm interested
this team with Josh Allen at quarterback, 6-0 ATS, 6-0 straight up off of a bye week. Not like I put too much eggs in that basket, just another metric I wanted to throw out there.
I'm interested in the Bills as well. I'm not going to bet them tonight. I want to sit with this a little longer. That is Bills Chiefs. Let's move on to 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Denver Broncos 6-6, 2-3 on the road. Los Angeles Chargers 5-7, 2-4 at home. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. So you guys know my dad's a season ticket holder of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's been fading them. And he faded them against the Ravens. I did not send it in. They scored the late touchdown, and he cashed. Then he cashed with the Golden Knights over the Canucks, plus 105. Now, he's gone on a run before. Cost me, $1.5K. He has sent me $300 on the Broncos. He timed it poorly. He wanted the Broncos plus 2.5 at minus 110. It quickly moved to 3. And I think that my dad's run is going to come to a screeching halt. And he's not being sharp. He's being very square with his action. And I think this is another one of those. So I have not sent in his $300 bet on the Broncos plus 2.5. We'll start with that. This has moved to 3. Again, it's moved to 3. And the 3 isn't even that juiced. It's a minus 114. This was always a 3 sort of at Pinnacle. The plus 3s got up a couple times to minus 126 and then back down, got to minus 122 and back down. Now it's a minus 114. It's not even juiced. This total is sitting, it opened up at 45. It got down to 43, and now there's been a point of buyback up to 44. When we get to the cash flow here in this one, we have 93% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the Broncos. And the line goes from 2.5 to 3. 93 and 94. It's crazy. 54% of the tickets, 78% cash on the other. Now, when he sends me in a bet, I look at it. I look at the spot because I'm interested in it. And when I see him on a spot like this, I'm like, I'm not sending this in. Now, I probably wasn't going to anyways, but you're going to be on the side with 93 or 94% of the cash tickets, and the line's moving against you. Ugh. All right. Well, Godspeed, Father. We'll fucking see. We'll fucking see how your fucking winning streak. Broncos coming off a tough 22-17 loss at the Texans. Russell Wilson, 15-26 for 186 yards, touchdown, 3 picks. He also ran 10 times for 44 yards and touchdown. Cortland Sutton led receivers with 2 catches for 77 yards and touchdown. Javonte Williams ran 13 times for 46 yards, caught 3 for 24. They were 0 for 11 on third down. They're 24th in the league on third down, converting 35.8% of the time. And they're 31st in the league on third down over the last 3 games. Over the last 3 games, they're converting 21.6%. Only one team is being worse, and it's not the Patriots. It's the Jets. They were just 1 of 3 in the red zone. They're 25th in red zone offense, scoring touchdowns, 48.9% of red zone drives. So they're 25th in red zone offense. They're 24th on third down offense. They're 31st on third down last 3 games. Why do we think they're such a good team again? Did they look good against the Texans? They were lucky to be in that spot. Now, there are some good things happening there. The pass rush has gotten stronger and stronger as the season goes on. Look, Peyton's done a great job. There's things to like. I get it, but they finished with 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, held the Texans to 4 of 16 on third down. They're 4th in the league, allowing opponents to convert just 35% of the time. Their defense is looking, really good. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Texans were 2 of 3 in the red zone, but they're 12th in the league, allowing opponents to score just 52.3% of red zone opportunities. The Chargers snapped their 3-game losing streak in an ugly 6-0 victory at New England in the driving rain. J.K. Scott was very good. You know it's a shit game when the first person you talk about is the punter. He pinned the Patriots inside the 27 times, limited the Patriots to an average starting position of 13-yard line. In 11 possessions, the Patriots started inside the 13 7 times, 4 of them inside the 9, and 1 at the 2. Herbert was 22 at 37 for 212 yards. No picks, no interceptions. Keenan Allen led receivers with 5 catches for 58 yards. Quentin Johnson caught 5 for 52. He's got to step up. He's taking a ton of heat. He's got to step up. He's missing easy catches again last week. The ground game is just doing nothing. 29 yards on 24 carries, but Belichick can take whatever he wants away from you. The Chargers were 5 of 15 on third down. They're 11th in the league in third down, 42.6%. Now, they didn't run a play in the red zone. They're 5th in the league in the red zone, though. They scored touchdowns 63.9% of the time. The pass rush was strong. They sacked Zappy 5 times. Khalil Mack now has 15 sacks on the season. The red zone defense, 13th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns on 52.6% of their red zone drives. They held the Patriots to 4-14 on third down. They're ranked 3rd in the league, allowing opponents to convert 34.6% of the time. If this is all of the case, then I should probably bet the Chargers too and make this a double down spot. You know what? I want to hear your take on this game. Take it away for us here, Troy. Broncos, Chargers.
Yeah, so everybody here kind of probably knows what's coming in this spot. The Broncos are a team I want to continue to look to fade. I faded them in Houston for over 3 units, got the cash. They're overpriced in the market, just like a lot of teams are at this point in the season. After week 10, you start to see a lot of teams just huge swings in their value and what they're being priced at in the market, and it's just something you got to pay attention to. They're lucky, like you said, and you might be saying it because I texted you like, holy shit, I'm sweating this game, and I was pissed because I shouldn't have. They were 0 for 11 on third down. The turnover regression came. They turned the ball over 3 times. Prior to that, in their 5-game win streak, they were plus 14 in the turnover margin. That's just unsustainable. Definitely regression. I still think we're going to see more regression. They were lucky as hell. I was so upset when there was a fumble return for a touchdown that was called back because of forward momentum with a running back that was trying to break a tackle in a one-on-one situation. Get the fuck out of here. They almost gave the Broncos that game. Not to mention Stroud missed a wide open touchdown pass before half, something we haven't seen out of him since the season began. I expect this team to continue to regress. This line just reminded me of the number that we've seen on the Chargers and the Lions game. The only difference is flipped now. The line's moving towards the Chargers, not away from them, and they're laying the 3. I think it's a strong line. It's baiting the Broncos' action. I think this is closing at 3, and if that's the case, we have an 8-4 ATS spot, a 9-3 straight up spot. I like the Chargers to win and cover.
I like it. Have you moved on it?
I did. I posted about it on Sunday night. I got -2.5 at -115.
I like it. What is the cost for the Chargers right now for the 2.5? Very quickly here, it would cost me -120.
Let's see. I mean, there's some books that are offering it. We should probably be a linchpin. Like if you can't get no action on these public books and they're laying a 2.5, like you can get -118. You can get -118 on DraftKings or FanDuel. That's the best available at the public books. But I mean, hey, if you ever want a better line, hey, I'll be your runner. No problem.
Troy's on the Chargers -2.5. I sort of am already by not sending in Pops' action, but I think I might want a little of my own as well.
So you got the 2.5 at -110.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Okay, let's go. Let's move on to I know we got a lot of bum fights on the schedule, but we also have some monster beautiful games. Here's another one. 8:20 p.m. Eastern. It is the Sunday nighter right here on Pub Sports Radio. What a glorious opportunity we have to live bet this game. Philadelphia Eagles 10-2, 5-1 on the road. At Dallas Cowboys 9-3, 6-0 at home. We're at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Dallas sitting at -3.5. The -3.5 opened at even money. the initial move was towards the Eagles, moved 5 cents, 6 cents. At one point, this had moved 12 cents towards the Eagles, and then it came back. So you could have got the Cowboys minus 3.5 at plus 110. This was yesterday at 4:48 p.m. Yesterday, for those of you watching this at a later date, it was Monday. Then it moved 13 cents towards the Cowboys. The minus 3.5 moved to minus 103, minus 102. Then there's been a little bit of buyback. So overall, though, there's been 3 cents of movement to the Eagles at the 3.5 number, from minus 112 opener to minus 115. From a total standpoint here, we have it at 53. And I get it opened up at 52. It's moved a point to 53. I get why it's so high. And we'll go over that. And it's based on the Eagles defense and what's going on there. The Eagles. Oh, did we do the cash flow? That's crucial here. For a cash flow standpoint here, 24% of the tickets and 67% of the cash is on the Philadelphia Eagles. Public on the Cowboys. And, you know, I don't want to be fading the Cowboys at home, but I don't know how you don't find the Eagles bounce back spot appealing here. 74% of the tickets and 62% of the cash is on this over. The Eagles come in off a wake-up call. 42-19 loss at home to the 49ers. Jalen Hurts was 26 of 45 for 298 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. And, you know, Doug saying the Eagles have been exposed. I mean, were the 49ers exposed in their 3-game losing streak? Jalen Hurts was 26 of 45 for 298 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown caught 8 for 114. Devonta Smith caught 9 for 96 yards and a touchdown. Nobody's concerned really about that side of the Eagles. Their running game was nowhere to be found in a spot where they needed it. They combined for 46 yards on 18 carries. But their offense is not a problem. They were 8 of 15 on third down. They're third in the NFL on third down, converting 47.9% of the time. They were 2 of 4 in the red zone. They're 9th in the league, scoring touchdowns 61.7% of the time. They just couldn't get enough pressure, and they couldn't get enough stops. So they've signed former All-Pro Shaquille Leonard. He'll help, and he's got something to prove. They allowed the 49ers to score touchdowns on 6 straight possessions. They allowed the 49ers to put up 456 yards of offense. Niners were 8 for 11 on third down. So listen to this. And I've been waiting for this all year. So there was a time 8 weeks ago where I was like, these numbers don't make sense. They'll work themselves out. Then they didn't work themselves out. And 5 weeks ago, I was like, these numbers are real. Now the Eagles have the worst third down defense in the league. Can you believe that? That's what I'm saying out loud.
It's crazy.
The worst third down defense in the NFL, allowing opponents to convert 47.3% of the time. The 49ers were a perfect 4 for 4 in the red zone. The Eagles are 29th in red zone defense. 29th. Allowing opponents to score on 68.3% of red zone drives. They finished with just 2 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. And then another thing about the Eagles, they've been outscored in the first half this season. A 10-2 team has been outscored 156-144 in the first half. Nuts. But this is a character group. And I do not know. Now, look, I know that the Cowboys probably should have won that game in Philadelphia. But they didn't, because Philadelphia can handle those spots. You saw them do it against Buffalo. They did it against Dallas. I don't know how anybody could fade the Eagles after the ass kicking they took. I really don't. Cowboys coming off their 14th straight home victory, come from behind 41-35 win over the Seahawks. 33 first downs. I told you how neither team punted. 5th time in NFL history this happened. Dak was 29 of 41 for 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. CeeDee Lamb caught 12 for 116 yards and touchdown. Jake Ferguson caught 6 for 77 yards, touchdown. Tony Pollard had 20 carries for 68 yards and touchdown. Caught 3 passes for 15. This offense very good. 8 of 14 on third down. They're second in the league in third down, 48.5% conversion rate. They were 4 for 8 in the red zone. Can you believe they were in the red zone 8 times? They're just 17th in red zone offense. Dak doesn't always make the best decisions down there. They only scored touchdowns 53.7% of red zone opportunities. The pass rush did not look strong. I think that's the first time I've said that this year. 1 sack, 6 quarterback hits. The defense got gashed. Deron Bland got eaten up by DK a few times. The Seahawks, scored touchdowns on 5 of their first 7 drives. They allowed the Seahawks to go 9 of 14 on third down. That's usually a strong spot for the Cowboys. They're 10th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 36.9% of the time. Seahawks were 4-5 in the red zone. That's been a problem for Dallas all year. Their red zone offense is not very good, and their red zone defense not very good. 23rd in the league. They allow opponents to score 63.2% of the time. And then Brandon Aubrey continues to be spectacular. NFL record, 26 consecutive field goals to start his career. Take it away, Troy. I can't wait to hear your breakdown on this one. Floor is yours. Eagles, Cowboys.
I have to do a lot more work on this game. This market is not something I like to see when I'm looking to back the Eagles. I mean, this team has been so good to me. I didn't bet the game last week. And if I did, I would have been on San Francisco, and I'm kicking myself in my ass because I feel like that was the opportunity I couldn't pass up. I feel like this is an opportunity to get back on the Eagles, but this market is just so strong in favor of the Cowboys. It's really hard to get behind. The Cowboys could definitely have been looking ahead towards this game when they're playing Seattle, and I feel like you made the point last week. I feel like it could have been true for the Eagles as they were playing San Fran, knowing that they had the Cowboys on deck for the division, just as an important game. They could have just let their hands off the wheel, when things started going wrong against San Francisco. The Cowboys got a little bit of extra rest on their side. They got revenge on their side. They probably should have, you could make an argument that they could have won that game in Philly a couple weeks ago. But goddamn, it's hard to back Dak Prescott knowing his MO in these type of games. I'm not looking to bet the Cowboys. In these primetime games, I do like to have the market fully developed before making a move. I know that's counterintuitive, but that's something that I've liked to do to get a full picture of what's going on exactly. And I think that's exactly how I'm going to play this game. I'm going to wait on it. I want to see what this market does over the next few days, see some of the injury reports come out, and just kind of get the complete picture of what we should be doing in this game, because it's going to be a hell of a game. I can't wait for Sunday.
I can't wait for Sunday night either. I can't wait to hammer this game, but I don't know what to do.
No, it's a tough game.
But I tell you what, I'm not all over the Cowboys at all. And if you want the Eagles, you shouldn't bet them pregame because they're so bad in first halves and the Cowboys are going to be so revved up. But I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but we know with the SGPs and with live betting, it's so much easier when you're on a dog. It's so much easier. And, so I'm 4 wins, 8 losses on my SGPs, pregame SGPs. I did have another winner, but I cashed out of it for a profit and ended up cashing, but it counts as a push for my records. But they've all been on dogs. All of those winners have been on dogs. I don't have a winning SGP right now on a favorite. Yeah,
because you're getting better. You're obviously getting a better number on the spread. You're getting better numbers in the prop markets just down the line. You're in all the derivative markets. You're getting a better number, especially with a team like the Eagles. I feel like you're hitting this perfectly. Like, why bet this pregame when probably catch a better line live? I'll definitely have an SGP ready for this game. I'm definitely gonna be betting this game. Ain't no doubt about that. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe I should be disciplined and wait for the live bet opportunity.
Yeah, I'm going to sit with the market for a little bit longer. Let's just touch, though, and we got cappers on both sides of the fence here in the chat. Let's just talk about this total. This total has gone from 52 now to 53. It's a move to the over. When we look at where the cash is, you have 75% of tickets on the over, just 62% of the cash, though. What is your feelings on a total this high? Because they're rare in this present day NFL. What do you think of this total?
I think that total's this high. Just filtering the database down to anything over 52. 10 and 2 to the under. That includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 primetime spots. And I'm thinking it's undefeated to the under. Undefeated to the under. So I'm looking towards the under. I actually haven't looked at this game very, very in depth. I'm going to look at this game much more throughout the course of the week. I haven't had the time, but that total is starting to look appetizing to me. Let it tick up, man, because it's just too high of a number. I'll take, even if it's a blowout or not a blowout, even if we blow past this, I could live with betting the under in a spot like this.
Londo says no way he's fading the primetime under. Well, the primetime under went 0-3 last week.
Oh.
I think that if you like, this is an SGP heaven. This game. This is going to be so much fun because you could, if you want, there's so many different. If you like the dog, there's so many different ways of hammering it. And if you like the under, there's so many different ways of hammering it.
How about you, Jimmy? You didn't say. Do you lean under or over at this point?
I want to know a little more about what the defense is going to do to change how bad they've been. And I need to study that a little more. And it's not like Shaquille Leonard's going to come in there and change everything, although I think he can help. The fact that they're the worst third down defense in the entire league and they're the fourth worst red zone defense in the entire league is scary. Now, the third down defense, being bad means the Cowboys are going to have the ball for long drives. And the Cowboys' red zone offense is not very good. Mm-hmm. I think this total is too high. Yeah. I think it's too high because both coaches are going to have a ton of respect for the opposing offense. They're going to want to keep the opposing offense off the field. So I think it's too high at this point. Now, I really want to see what happens with the market, though. It's gone from 52 to 53. So I want to see that badly. And I understand that Dallas has Rebenga, but the problem is that Eagles just got destroyed and embarrassed. They're going to be so sharp. But they've been so bad in the first half. If it's only about the year-long numbers and not about the psychology, there's two different worlds here. If it's only about the numbers, then you would have to think that the Eagles are live at 3.5 if you base it solely on numbers. But I don't do that. I think that this is an angry Eagles team that knows they can have everything they want if they win this game. Number 1 overall seed. So, but I'm not moving on anything at this point right now. But I can't wait for Sunday night. I can't wait for our live stream. I'm going to have so much action, and I'm excited. All right. And Brand says 53 is a lot. So, and Jared TG says, I'm not sure there's much they can do. He says they've had a coverage problem all year. They have so much talent still. They still have so much talent in the secondary. They should be able to improve, you'd think. Well, that's Eagles Cowboys for us. Let's move on to Monday night. Now, if you think Sunday is going to be a lot of fun, Monday is going to be madness. We have 2 Monday nighters popping off at the exact same time. So our live stream is going to be wild on Monday night. And it's already wild. Tennessee Titans, Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens. The Titans take their 0-6 road record into Hard Rock Stadium, where the Dolphins are 5-0. 75 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the Dolphins as 13.5-point favorites. Now, look, I did not think that they were going to smash and grab these last 2 road games. I didn't bet against it, but I didn't think they were just going to dominate so easily. Miami's gone from 13-point favorites to 13.5-point favorites. Huge favorites. From a total scenario, we have a 48. It's 47 at all the other books, but Pinnacle moved it to 48 today at 1:11 p.m., about 10.5 hours ago, and none of the other books have followed, which is wild. Surprising. From a cash flow standpoint, 27% of the tickets and 36% of the cash is on the Tennessee Titans. 86% of the tickets and 86% of cash is on the under, and it's gone up a point at Penny. Titans coming off a 31-28 overtime loss to the Colts. They were swept by the Colts for the first time since 2018, and they suffered several injuries in the loss. Derrick Henry left the game in the fourth quarter with a suspected concussion. He's not in concussion protocol. That's been confirmed multiple times. He's going to be good to go. They lose Jeffrey Simmons to a knee injury. That's a huge loss. Huge loss. Defensive tackle. He's going to be out for multiple weeks. And if they're out of playoff contention, he shouldn't even come back. They also lost their punter Ryan Stonehouse to a season-ending injury. They also lose cornerback Christian Fulton to a hamstring injury. He has hamstring problems, going back to 2021. Every year he has a hamstring issue, and he started out the year, he missed week 2 because of a hamstring problem. Since then, he hasn't missed a game, but it's a problem. And Josh Wiley, their tight end, suffered a knee injury. He's not going to be available. They're hoping it's not season ending. So it was a very costly loss. Levis was 16 of 33 for 224 yards and a touchdown. Did fumble 3 times, losing one of them. DeAndre Hopkins caught 5 for 75 in a touchdown. They were 6 of 17 on third down. That's been a major trouble spot for them this year. They're 30th in the league, converting just 32.2% of third downs. It hasn't changed with Levis. They were 2 of 3 in the red zone. They're also 30th in the league in that stat. They scored touchdowns on just 41.2% of red zone drives. Can you imagine that with Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins, who can't succeed in the red zone? Now, their red zone defense was excellent. They held the Colts to just 1 of 5 in the red zone. They're the second best red zone defense in the league, allowing touchdowns just 37.2% of the time. And that is key against the Miami Dolphins. This Miami Dolphins offense is, well, they're the best red zone team in the league by far. 75% of red zone drives they cash. So you have the second best red zone defense that's going to try to slow down Tyreek Hill here. The Colts had first and goal 4 times in regulation, and that red zone defense was, amazing. 3 Matt Gay field goals and a fumble. They also held the Colts to 3 of 14 on third down. They're 15th in the league, allowing third down conversion 38.3% of the time. Pass rush finished with 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Dolphins come in off a dominant 45-15 victory at the Commanders. They outgained Washington 406 to 245. Tua 18 and 24 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill caught 5 for 157 and 2 touchdowns. Davon Achane returned and looked great. Not quite as good as he looked before he got hurt, but I didn't think he'd cash his over prop. He did 17 carries for 73 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 of 13 on third down. They're 8th in the league, converting 43.4% of third downs. They were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. They're the best red zone team in the league. They 6 of 14 on third down. They're 9th in the league, allowing opponents. The Commanders were 6 of 14 on third down. 9th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 36.5% of third downs. They've been really good there. But their red zone defense is horrible. They're 28th in the league in red zone defense, and that's going to hurt them. When it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to the biggest games, that red zone defense is going to hurt them. They let the Commanders go for 2 for 2. The pass rush got 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. It was their first game without Jalen Phillips. We were all kind of interested to see what the defense would look like. They looked really good. Jalen Phillips out for the year with the Achilles tendon tear. Andrew Van Ginkel had a pick 6. Linebacker Jerome Baker injured his left knee, so he's week to week. So you have no Jalen Phillips. Now you have no Jerome Baker. And then Robert Hunt, offensive tackle, week to week after aggravating a hamstring issue. God, I want the Titans. I don't know if I could do it, but I want the Titans. North End said they just signed Reuben Foster. There's Sean Pulliam in the house. What up, Sean? Sean in the house. Take it away for us, Troy. Our first Monday nighter, Titans, Dolphins.
Man, I'm not there with you on the Titans in this spot. I could see the Dolphins just having their way with this Tennessee Titan defense. Oh, man, I feel like good quarterbacks really could expose this Titans defense. I know they allowed 2 punts to be blocked. It turned into 10 points, so the final score was a bit misleading, but still, the coverage was very soft. It's not hard coverage. It's not hard coverage to beat. I think Tua will be able to march this ball up and down the field. No trends last forever. We're finally starting to see Vrabel regression. All the Vrabel trends that everyone talks about every single year, they're all coming to a halt at this point. Like, good luck making a case for the Titans. I feel like I couldn't make a case for the Titans in this game. And because of that, this spread's too big for me to consider backing the Dolphins. It's just a complete stay away spot. And if you look at some of the run defense grades, because we know the Titans are going to come out and try to run the ball, not for touchdowns, but I just feel like, so here they are versus all these run heavy teams, the Eagles. Their highest grades are against rush heavy, or who you'd consider to be rush dominant teams, the Eagles, the Giants, the Patriots, all of these teams that run the ball at a high rate. They're putting up fantastic scores. And the Titans run blocking, they have one good grade, and it was last week against the Colts on their resume. I just can't make a good case for the Titans. I don't feel comfortable with this game. It's a pass for me.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't get so banged up. Jared TG says, yes, he's a Titans fan, and their secondary is absolute shit. North Ender says Miami wins by as much as they want. Harold Williams says Miami by at least 17. Wow. So do you think that with the injuries at linebacker to the Dolphins that the Titans are capable with Levis to put up some points and maybe the over then is in play?
I really don't have any faith in Levis. He kind of came out of the gates really hot. He showed some promise, but I feel like something, and I think it has to do with the offensive line. This offensive line is not very good protecting for him, and something just doesn't look right. It feels like, once you have PTSD, like I talked about with Daniel Jones earlier in the year, you just get mentally just fucked, and you just can't concentrate. You can't make the right decisions because you're constantly thinking about the pressure, about what your teammates are doing. And I could see Will Levis. I know he's just been shaky. He hasn't looked comfortable at all.
What do you think of 86% of the tickets and 86% of cash on the under, and Pinnacle has moved it from 47 to 48?
I feel like that's a very strong sign to the over. It's pretty sure that's fitting the exact trend I posted about with the over we bet with the Seahawks Cowboys. I love it. I think the over is definitely in play here, because I don't see the Titans being able to stop the Dolphins. And like you said, the Dolphins, I mean, I'm not like, I don't want to bet the Titans on the spread because I think the Dolphins will just manhandle them offensively. But I could see the Titans putting up some points. They're able to put up points against, the Colts. I think they can put up points in this spot. I like the over.
Do you think that the red zone defense for the Titans that's been so good is, you take Justin Simmons off the defensive tackle, you're dealing with, more injuries than that. No Christian Fulton. Do you think that maybe if you're looking at the year-long statistics, that's why people would think that maybe this could go under, but without those two players, maybe the Dolphins get whatever they want in the red zone?
I don't think that they've really played a strong enough schedule of teams that are offensively capable to score at high rates in the red zone. I mean, they have one of the softest strength of schedule so far this season, and the teams they did play, like the Jaguars, who have a competent offense, they scored in the red zone. The Ravens were able to put up points in the red zone as well.
So why would 86? What would it? Because what would the people on the under be thinking? What would their angle be? I mean, there were 60 points just scored in the Commanders game.
Yeah. I don't know what they're thinking could be, because the fact that this moving to the over, it doesn't even matter to me what they're thinking. If the bookies are fading that, like we've seen what happened, it's mob shit, brother. It's mob shit. It's real talk. That shit happens. All that money, all the sharp action on the under, and the total movement up in this range where, like I said earlier, totals priced in this range, typically I lean towards the over. And in this case, when all the money's on the under and the bookies are moving it up, it's a one-way ticket, man. I love the over. I'll probably be betting the over.
Spenny says they think the Titans won't score. The Titans team total at Pinnacle 16.5, juice to the over. All right. Well, I'm interested in the over as well. I don't know if I get there tonight, but I'm very interested in it. Let's talk about the final spot on today's show here. Thank you guys for rolling with us. 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The Green Bay Packers 6-6, 2-4 on the road at the New York Giants, 4-8, 2-3 at home. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 41 Fahrenheit, clear, 9 miles per hour. Oh, the Green Bay Packers being very good to us, man. Very good to us. Got to put a comma in my live action last week in the Sunday Nighter. It was just glorious. It's I had a few of those 1K nights live with everybody. It's just very, very, very enjoyable. Let's talk about the line history here for this one. We have the side first. We have the Packers. A very juice 6.5 right now at Pinnacle. They opened up at 6. They moved to 6.5. This is going to be a 7 probably by tomorrow morning, which will be Wednesday morning. From a total side of things, we have a 37, very low. Opened up at 37 minus 108 to the under. It's now 37 minus 115 to the under. So we've had 7 cents of movement. That last 3-cent move happened 8 minutes ago, 10:34 p.m. 3-cent more move to the under in this one. Taking a look at the cash flow, you have 66% of tickets, 67% of cash, and the line moving towards the Packers. We have 95% tickets on the under. We don't have cash information yet. Brent Cook says Green Bay seems simple. Yes, but they just beat the Super Bowl champions, and now they go play the 4-8 Giants. And 41 Fahrenheit clear, 9 miles per hour at MetLife. Packers coming off their biggest win of the year. They've won 3 straight, and they have this December record under LaFleur. It's just crazy. 16-0.
Holy shit.
And it's just nuts. It's just, I don't know how, just beyond comprehension. 16-0 in December under LaFleur. They got outgained. Oh, no, sorry. They outgained the Chiefs 382 to 337. Jordan Love was tremendous. 25 of 36 for 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. We talked about his composure in the pocket. A lot of people on this show said to me that the big difference between the Chiefs defense and the Lions defense. And I was saying, look at him. He's different. He's different now. Different than what we saw before. He's got calm. He's poised. He's making the right reads. He's not panicking. Romeo Doubs, 4 catches, 72 yards. Christian Watson had 7 catches for 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. But here it is growing. He's listed as questionable this week. A.J. Dillon ran 18 times for 73 yards, caught a 14-yard pass. They were 5 of 10 on third down. They're now 6th in the league, converting 44% of third downs. They were 3 of 4 in the red zone. They're now 20th in the league, scoring touchdowns, 52.4% of opportunities, and that's improving. Their defense looked very strong, but the Chiefs were still 7 of 11 on third down. Packers are just 24th in the league, holding opponents to 41.4% conversion rate. Held the Chiefs to 2 of 4 in the red zone. That's where they're stepping up. And wait till they're fully healthy. They're now 8th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns just 48.8% of the time. Pass rush got 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Nixon had an interception. Jair Alexander missed the 4th straight game. We thought he was going to be back. Aaron Jones missed another game. The Giants come in off their bye week. They were last seen a 10-7 win at home over the Patriots. First 2-game winning streak of the season. And their defense has been a huge part of it, obviously. But also Tommy DeVito not making mistakes. 2-1 as the starter. Unbelievable. Who would have thought that? Now, there is an issue. Tyrod Taylor is practice all week. And we don't know who's starting. He's not told us. So I'm very curious to hear what everybody thinks. Because if you look at what DeVito's done, 6 touchdowns and 1 pick in his past 3 games. He's not thrown an interception in his past 66 passes. Passer ratings of 137.7 and 103.9. The 137.7 against Commanders, the 103.9 against the Patriots. You got to go with DeVito. I mean, I know it's crazy to say that out loud, but they got to go with DeVito. They've been playing without Pro Bowl tackle Dexter Lawrence, and they've been playing great. They forced 6 turnovers in the win over Washington. Then, Wink Martindale, who I did not, and I don't really believe it, he's doing a great job. Okereke, McKinney, Deontay Banks get picks. Now, the offensive line is the complete mess. That has not changed. It's allowed the Patriots to get a season-high 6 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 7 tackles for a loss. The offensive line is horrific. But it's not really like the Packers' offensive line, front 7 pass rush is that scary. It's not. So, yes, there's huge problems with the Giants' offensive line. Saquon Barkley had 2 big runs, 19 and 14. Other than that, those 2 runs, he did not look good. 17 rushes for 25 yards. Now, Darren Waller, eligible to come off injured reserve. And it's possible that both Dexter Lawrence and their offensive tackle, Evan Neal, will be ready to return after the bye. We're still waiting for Dable to let us know. Now, the numbers are bad for the Giants. We know that. 31st on third down, converting 30.9% of opportunities. 31st in the red zone, scoring touchdowns on 40% of red zone drives. But they're 5th in third down defense, allowing opponents to convert 35% of the time. 24th in red zone defense, allowing opponents to score touchdowns on 61.9% of red zone drives. I guess what's happening now is I'm talking myself into the under, which I didn't expect. And I think that Tommy DeVito should start at quarterback. And I'm very curious to see who is announced. And I almost don't want to make a move until I know. But the fact, and I'll say this again about DeVito, 66 straight passes without an interception, 6 touchdowns and 1 interception in his past 3 games. How do you not go with him? Take it away. And I know he's not, good. But look, the numbers are the numbers. They're facts. Take it away. Packers, Giants, Troy.
That's exactly where I was going to go with this game. Like I said earlier, I like to wait for these markets to be fully developed and then move on something for these primetime games. And I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be the under. Fade the Packers offense after that explosive, complete, well-rounded offensive showing that they had versus KC. You get to fade them, and you get to fade Tommy DeVito and the Giants offense, which is, we already know, you touched on all the metrics. This is not an explosive, not a dangerous offense by any means. It's a good time to back a primetime under. Home team's a dog. I know it didn't work out yesterday, or when was it? I bet the under Packers in the Packers-Chiefs game. I bet the under home team was a dog. It almost got there. It didn't look like it had any chance to cash. It still almost cashed. I think in this spot, it would definitely be the right side to be on the under in a spot like this. I'm not looking towards backing the Packers, and I'm definitely not looking towards backing the Giants. So maybe I just fade both their offenses, take the under.
I agree. Now, the Packers total was messed up. To put up a 43.5 when neither team had got to that number in the 3 previous games was just messed up. I don't think there's anything messed up about this. This is a low number. The public's going to be very nervous about getting underneath it. It's too low. It's 37. We just watched the Packers put up 28 points against the Chiefs. The more I talk about it, the more I like it. I'm going to bet this tonight. Let's just go back to the cash flow once more here on this under. Had 95% of but there's only 4,600 tickets. Nobody wants to bet this game. I think that this moves to 36.5 very soon. That's what I think. It's all good, DG. It's all good, my man. We know that you got our back and support us, my man. Doug says, I think the Packers win for sure, but not sure about the cover. Says maybe Packers for a money line parlay look. And Jared says, I don't see why they wouldn't start Tommy. They aren't playing for anything. It may as well keep letting the young players get reps and see what happens. There is some crazy talk that the Giants could just win out with the Tommy DeVito special and make the playoffs. But obviously we know that there are no fairy tales in Shawshank, man. Packers, Giants, I'm going to bet the under tonight. All right, let's review all action here on the card. And Troy, I'm going to need you to jump in when we get to some of your spots that I may not have. Sure. For 8:15 p.m. Thursday night. Gotta be on
Do it, Jimmy. Do it, baby.
No. It's just like my stepdad used to say in our family meetings. God, the family meetings are awful. He would always say, optional misery. All my decisions were optional misery, and I was choosing misery. You really want the Patriots here. And when people say don't do it, that makes me want to do it. Because then the public thinks it's absolutely crazy and the market's slightly moving towards them. That makes me want to bet it so bad. So yes, I got to maybe want Patriots. And I think it'd be fun. It's too bad I'm not going to do the live stream. I can't because Friday's such a huge card. I need to be capping it for betting with the bag. But the Trubisky pick and the Patriots defensive TD, you could put together a little SGP, which you wouldn't need to invest too much in. That would be astronomical. Sky Dragon saying we should do it. Yes, I think so. I think we have to.
Do it, baby. I'm with you, Scott. I'm with you, Dennis. Let's get it.
Jared TG says he's never had a family meeting. Sounds miserable. It was awful, dude. It couldn't have been worse. It was just like, oh God. Okay. So that's the Thursday nighter. Then we have Troy on the Falcons -2.5, and I'm really interested in this under. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. Then Troy's on the Bears +3.5, -110, and I want to be on it too. Troy, can you hit us one more time with? And I know we got to put a ball on the show, but talk this is going against the database.
Yeah, and it wasn't planned. I didn't plan to go against the database. I just thought I was going to get closing line value, which is why I moved on the Bears. I knew the Bears would be taking money, and it makes complete sense. Do I have to touch on it? Jared Goff in an outdoor game, terrible weather, rainy, windy, snowy, whatever it's going to be shit. Okay, and you got Justin Fields, who's going to be able to make plays with his legs versus a defense that has been underperforming. And I don't think they're underperforming. I think their defense is really that bad. So I think it's a good spot.
How many times have you gone against the database this year?
I've gone against the database a couple times, and it hasn't really worked out for me very well, to be honest.
Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do about this, man, because it makes sense from an X's and O's standpoint, man.
I know.
Okay. I'm very interested in the Bears plus 3.5. Troy's already moved on it. Then I have 2 bets that I made pre-flop, the under 42 and Colts Bengals. Troy's moved on the under 40 and is rolling with me. Then Jaguars, Browns. Troy already tweeted out, moved on the Browns plus 3.5. It was before the Trevor Lawrence injury.
I just got the plus 3. I didn't get the 3.5.
Plus 3. Okay. But still, you have 6.5 points of value getting ahead of it. So great job. Okay. And then in the I'm betting the Panthers tonight.
I moved on it already, Jimmy, plus 5.5.
I'm betting it tonight. I'm betting the Jets tonight.
Did I bet that one yet? I don't think. Oh wait, did I say I was going to wait on that one? I think I didn't. I haven't bet that one yet. I'm going to wait on that game. I'm going to be on the Jets. I'm going to be on the Jets. I'm not. I'm just going to see if I can get a 6.5, a good one.
I'm going to bet them tonight.
Now
the Ravens.
You already got the 6, right? At Pinnacle minus.
I haven't bet it yet, but it's available for me. Yeah. DG saying, I just wish Carolina's game wasn't second straight road game. I've been telling people that something's wrong in New Orleans. Something's wrong. Dennis Allen panicking. I don't know if he's lost the room or what's going on. Something's wrong. Cameron Jordan invisible. Now they lose Roach. Something's wrong. Okay, so the Ravens have become very appealing. Troy has a teaser with Ravens Bills. Yeah, I think it's going to be Zach Wilson too, DG, but God, this is such a crazy, crazy situation. Then I like the Raiders and I like the under. I don't know if I move on that tonight. I got to make that decision. Then Seahawks, I'm betting tonight. And have you got them yet? Or are you betting that tonight?
I bet the Seahawks plus 10.5.
I'm betting that tonight. I'm very interested in the Bills. Have you moved on the Bills already?
I just got them on the teaser. I won't be upset with taking a worse price. I'm just waiting out, see if I can get a 3. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd like it at 3. Let's hope it closes at 2.5. I think it will close at 2.5. So if I get a 3 pop, and I'm going to grab it, knowing I really believe it closes 2.5, and that'd be good for the database.
I do not think it. I do not think we get a 3, but I'd be very interested if that happens. Troy's on the Chargers minus 2.5. My dad sent 300 for me to send in for him on the Broncos plus 2.5. I might double down. Certainly not sending his accent. And then Eagles Cowboys. We've done nothing on that game, but it's our Sunday nighter. I'm going to be firing away, and I'm excited about that game, man. Then I got to figure out this over in Tennessee, Miami, because what scares me is the fact that they put it at such a low number, especially after the Titans just put up 28 points and the Dolphins put up 45, and yet they're just offering a 47 because they think the Titans aren't going to score. I get it, but I'm going to sit with this a little longer because I like overs in that game. And then on the Monday nighter, I'm betting the under 37 tonight in Green Bay, New York Giants. That is our show. We are coming off a great week. Just under 10 units of profit between us. I went 7-2 plus 4.9 units. Troy went 15-10 plus 4.87 units. Troy's ROI right now plus 8.95%. That's pretty special after 254 bets plus 8.95% ROI. That's fucking special. Troy, I love this opportunity, and we still got lots left. It is week 14, but we got lots left. And what's going to happen is we're going to get to the playoffs. There's going to be less games to cap. Shows aren't going to be as long, and we'll get to deep dive even more. And
I can't wait for that. I really hammer as the season goes on. I usually start betting spots bigger. I haven't seen any that pop off the sheet to me this week, but in the playoffs, I did really well last year making sizable bets.
I'm very excited Very excited. Troy, thank you for making this happen in Nashville. I know you're on the road right now for work, so thank you for making this happen from Nashville. Troy will be back in business in Chicago here for our next show, but thank you for making it happen here. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Truth Teller, Harold Williams, Brent Cook, Fantasy Freak, Penny Bombs. So many great cappers in here helping us. Top Set, Christopher Commentini, Jared TG, of course, Sky Dragon, Fantasy Freak, Londo in the house. Harold Williams, Doug, Sean Pulliam, the Big O. Great to have you guys, man. Markel, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being a part and supporting the show. It means a ton to us, a ton. And I'm going to give a shout out to our producer, but I would like to hear any last words, Troy, for the Capper Supporting Show.
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming out, watching us every week. We've been cashing. Let's continue to make some money. I can't wait to get back home. I have a lot more work to do. I've definitely had an incomplete card, so thank you for bearing with me. I'll be posting a lot of these market trends and I'll be posting all my action on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. I'll be posting some interesting things. And yeah, thanks. Blessed to have this opportunity, and let's continue to move in the right direction.
Let's do exactly that. Jose, thank you so much for all the hard work you do behind the scenes. Now he's got to be up so late cutting all of these videos. Thank you for all of that, Jose. We will see you guys tomorrow, Betting with the Bag at 11 a.m. We have Connor Mack for NHL and NCAA basketball, Dabby Cab for NCAA basketball, and Dutch Boy Fresh for NBA. That's us tomorrow. I stopped the losing at 2 losing weeks in a row, 7-2 last week, plus 4.9 units. I feel like I'm seeing things clearly. I like a lot of spots on this board, and it was just one of the biggest weeks of my entire life as a capper. So I feel like the stress is off, and I'm ready to fire away. Thank you guys for supporting our show. Let's go out and have a monster week 14, a monster week 14. Let's go out there, do the work, and get the cash. Leche a los